Hello, and welcome to the Game Informer Show. I'm your host, Andy McNamara. Today, I am joined by a wonderful cast of characters. First up, Matt Miller. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. Good to hear. Dan, the Jacket Tack.
It's a regular rogues gallery in here today.
It is. And last week I think you promised us a new jacket, and that is not a new jacket. Or isn't it? It is.
It is.
You just threw me off with the red. What's different?
It is
kind
very
of
different than the other red.
It's tropical.
It is tropical. Weed leaves.
It's sort of a wish coat right now. You wish you were in a tropical setting.
It's a little dialed back from the more ostentatious offerings of the past few weeks.
I like to imagine, Dan, that somewhere in this office building that none of the rest of us know, you've got a walk-in closet, filled with
bigger than the game vault.
It's one of those rooms that no one ever goes in. It's hidden behind all the Rock Band equipment.
It's like if you have a cat and you move the couch and there's all those things behind it. That's like Dan has hidden them all behind the couch.
It's actually in the intern room, and he just walked over us every time when we were getting ready.
It's always my excuse to go down there and talk to them.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But I love it. The jacket. You're pulling it off. You're definitely pulling it off. And Leo Bader, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And a little excited news for everybody. I'm going to be at DICE next week, so you are going to get a Leo cast next week. He's already committed, so already set your calendars. Next Thursday, things get crazy.
The Leo cast.
And in the box, we got Alex Stadnick. How you doing?
Hello, I'm wonderful. Thank you to everyone who joined us on the live streams the last 2 days. Those were really, really fun.
Yes, you guys were going crazy, and we're actually going to talk about both those games to kind of catch people up if they didn't watch the live streams. So they are archived and on our site. And those two games would have been, you played some Apex Legends Season 4, and you played Zombie Army 4 Dead War.
That's right, sir.
And so there's a lot. We're going to say war a lot, I think, during this episode.
It never changes, I've heard.
It never changes. Let's go down. Let's talk about these two things that you guys did. So you spent 2 days playing games, streaming them. Yeah. Audience loved them, adored you. You guys were much loved.
Heroes.
True heroes
for our time.
So let's start with Apex Legends, which they sent us cupcakes today as an anniversary gift.
That's awesome.
Which is very nice of them.
Nice.
Those cupcakes went very quickly. I saw one.
I was going to say
they were good.
Did not get a cupcake. Was on the stream for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But
so the people that actually play Apex didn't get a chance.
It's fine. Yeah.
Would you like me to tell you about the cupcake?
Please, great detail. Yeah.
So Apex has been really blowing it up. I think they've set up to 70 million players. Maybe not at once, obviously, but they've gone out and played Apex. I've been trying to play some Apex. I've had trouble getting people to play with me, but I like it when I play it. Do you know what I mean? And I like queuing solo is fun for only so long.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, it's good to play with two other people.
They definitely make it relatively easy with the pinging system and everything. It's easier than most games for solo queuing.
Well, for anyone that doesn't know about Apex, one thing that I think Apex innovated in this space for battle royales is that they put in so many tools and communication systems into the game that just weren't in other games. Things like you walk over and you look at an item and you're like, I don't want that. The game will go, hey, everybody in your group, this item is over here just in case you want it, which is like so nice that it just, if you don't have voice chat, it basically replaces the things that you would tell your team in voice chat and puts them in game and points out where people are, and you can ping things and do things. So a lot of things become very natural and very easy within the game.
Which is solo friendly, by the way.
Yes, exactly. It is solo friendly. I'm just saying you feel like you face teams that are not soloing up.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they own your face because they have that next level of communication. Sure. Mm-hmm. The game's doing as much as it can. It can't replace talking with your friends and coming up with a strat, right? But it does a great job of presenting all the data you need to be relevant.
Yeah.
How about that in the space and make the best runs you can, right? Does that make sense?
For sure.
Make sense? So tell me about Season 4.
So we got this new hero, Revenant, who's kind of a scary robot.
Yeah.
His intro
dark.
cinematic was very cool.
Yeah.
That's online.
Yeah, they put out 3 days beforehand, and it's like next level, top level, I should say. Maybe not next level, but top level, kind of like Japanese anime cartoon. It's good. It's really good. It's great.
Sure. He's got a mystical vibe, but maybe more of like a techno wizard type of thing. I think it's all supposed to be
robot,
that whole world
death, tech, mysticism. They're really
Exactly.
throwing a lot in there.
That sums it all up. Yeah. So he's got this.
That's Apex Legends. I mean, like everything in Apex Legends is a mix of like it's a everything from everywhere mixed together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shoots out an orb that disables abilities and does a little bit of damage for his normal Q ability. And then his ultimate is a totem where if you activate it, you can go run in and get killed, and you will just warp back to the totem instead of dying.
Yeah.
But you'll still have nearly no health, and you'll have to heal.
But it did give you, it looked like 2 squares of armor, which I thought was really cool, and it didn't set you up to just die right away if you had some skill. Like, I thought that was a nice touch.
But you can be riskier. It is kind of frustrating going up against that, where it's like 2 people are rushing you, and you manage to fight them off, and they're just fine still. They just walk back, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kind of, I did this already.
Yeah, exactly.
I beat you. And no, you didn't. But and so they also changed the map.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got kind of a lava and ice vibe on different portions of it, which is interesting to explore. Lots of distinct regions. I got my first win last night. Thanks for asking, I'm sure. It came up
That was the next
organically.
question.
And it was like this final fight on the top of this cliff. This narrow, like, little valley on the top of a cliff, and shot the last person as they're running away trying to escape off of it. It was a very cool moment.
Like the Last of the Mohicans music was playing in the background.
Yeah, that's right. They got the rights.
That's awesome.
And so they're also they're saying that there's this planet harvester. This was something that was highlighted. Can you tell me something about this planet harvester?
It's a red beam going into the sky. If you've seen any media from the last 20 years, you'd probably recognize it. But
I haven't. I haven't seen any
Okay, just
media.
take my word for it.
All right.
But
cool.
there is a pool of lava, and if you actually fall into it, like I did, I believe 3 times on stream yesterday.
Oh, excellent. So it was a pro stream.
Once on purpose, I think.
It was.
You
get
watch our streams for really, really great play.
The top
right?
end play.
The top
Yes.
end.
high level. It does a little bit of damage, but it also kind of raises you up, so you're floating, and you can get back to the ground.
It startled Cork and I very much so. We were worried for him.
Thought it was the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think lore-wise, and people in the comments will correct me when I'm wrong, but this is the first time they've really leaned into Hammond Robotics, which are responsible for the Titans in Titanfall, which could just be a nice little nod to fans of Titanfall, but I'm hoping it's more. They've said in the past Titans aren't coming, but a guy can hope,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I feel like those things. I've always felt like that's just going to be some like month-long event. Do you know what I mean? They're going to have like some event where it's going to be like, they did it in Fortnite where there was a time where there was like you could get superpowered either as Thanos, and there was a time where you could do a mech thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where there'll be like, there's one Titan in the map. See?
Yeah, and then it's
You know what I
game
mean?
over,
And
yeah.
like you have to go like fight for it, and whoever gets it just gets to just own people, which everyone will be angry about. The other people in the lobby will all be angry that whoever got it. But it'll be fun for a couple weeks, and then it'll go away.
I like to believe that Apex Legends and all of its success is just resentful Respawn employees who are slowly going to get people to play Titanfall.
which
Over years and years, eventually it's going to transform the entire game, and it's going to be the game that they thought people should have been playing all along.
I
Good
mean,
Lord willing.
we did it on stream. At the end of it, we played Titanfall for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we talked about too. Was like, I don't know if Apex's success is good for Titanfall or bad for Titanfall, because they could be like, well, now we're just making Apex games. So I don't know.
I mean, I would guess I think it's good for it.
I think it's better than Apex not doing well.
yeah,
certainly.
if Apex
Yeah.
failed, then we're all in trouble. But
Well,
Yeah.
just I think it enables Vince to go internally and say, we want to make Titanfall 3. There's people interested in the universe. Here's why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, even if they're not interested, they're like, oh, well, they're playing it, and they must know it's associated to Titanfall, even though we kind of know that not everyone probably does.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then
I
he
don't know.
walks up to the EA boardroom and says, "Hey guys, don't release Battlefield a week before us, please. Thank you,
Please?
Yeah, please." I'm
yeah.
not bitter.
I think that was a different time. I think as far as how things go, and they thought people wanted that it was going to be a hit. Like I don't think they considered the competition. As we look back, it was very obvious that it was, and I think a lot of us said it was going in. But I think Respawn.
It's weird when you compete with yourself. That's
Respawn
weird.
really thought that they were fine. I think is my take on it. Like they did not look at it as immediate competition, even though I think it did end up being so. So you liked it?
Oh yeah,
Had fun?
definitely.
Gonna play more?
I am. I was excited to be excited about it again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I fell off it a long time ago, like 2 seasons ago, and it was fun to be back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
excellent.
I totally skipped season 3 as well, and this got me like, ooh, I want to get my squad together again and do just fine. Not
Yeah.
great, just fine.
Yeah, things like they improved iron sight accuracy, which I think is always helpful when games, like when the guns don't feel just awful until you put the right attachments on it. I think it's always a good move. So
Enjoy that.
I like that as an improvement for season 4. That's something that I think is interesting. And I know in the middle of season 3 they added the ability to just go test weapons, which I like as well, to be able to like find more weapons you like. And I think they put some locations on the map too that you get an opportunity to get. If you want to go do that fight, you have a better opportunity to get the weapons you want.
It's like guaranteed weapons on a weapon rack.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
interesting.
Which makes for, I think, some good choices, because it is sometimes, as we talked about at other times, that sometimes you just like, oh, I just got lucky and got the weapons I wanted, and kind of like luck to some degree plays. Which I know it always does, but for the Battle Royale, I feel like it's not always skill that wins. It's nice to kind of lean in a little bit into skill, that you can get the tools you want to be effective the way you want. And I think that's another smart move by Respawn in this space.
It's cool they're not afraid to toy with the core mechanics of a battle royale.
Yeah.
Like from the beginning, that's what's been so cool about Apex.
Yes, agreed. So,
Bring back solos, please.
Yeah, I want to try that.
Just saying.
the Zombie Army 4 Dead War. This is, which, by the way, this is exciting because it's co-op
Yeah.
and it's 4, which I gotta, and I have to admit, by the way,
That's a big
And
number.
it's army.
I was like,
What was your question yesterday?
I was like-
just tell the audience what your question is.
this is exactly where I was going, which was like, there were 3 other
Yes.
ones. I totally
Yeah.
that is my headspace with zombies, and obviously Zombie Army. Sorry, Zombie Army, but everyone looked at me like, yeah, there's been a trilogy. Duh.
Yeah.
And so I went, we'll talk about it on the podcast. So
And
tell
here we are.
me what does 4 bring that we missed in the other 3?
Great question. I've never played the other
Can you
two.
give us a history of maybe like the fiction of
Sure.
Zombie Army 1 through 3 before we talk about 4, please?
Of course. So Nazis made zombies.
Okay.
Hitler was one of them.
Got it.
He died in the third one.
Okay, great.
yeah.
You're caught up.
Yeah, that's it.
But I mean, like, is there an army of zombies in this zombie game?
There is indeed. It's very
Oh.
much a horde game.
Are
Waves
you
of hundreds
No
of.
way.
Are you zombies?
Wow.
You're not zombies.
No,
not
but if
zombies.
you're in co-op and one of you dies in a certain way, you stumble around as a zombie and your friend can kill you. It happened on stream.
Oh, cool.
It was interesting.
I got an achievement for it.
Can you, as
Yeah.
a zombie, kill your friend? Do you have enough tools as a
Probably.
zombie?
Well, you can't control. You're just spectating your lumbering corpse. That should be clear. But if your friend didn't do anything, couldn't bring themselves to shoot you, your zombie would kill them.
We all know the answer is they'll shoot you.
gonna
There-
say,
there's
in a
not going to be.
heartbeat. That's not a hard decision.
There's not any way around
It's a
that.
zombie now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a pretty simple game. You know, it's just waves of hundreds of zombies. There's some fun ability, some fun progression. You get like an electric fist where you can punch somebody and they'll go flying and the electricity will arc between a bunch of different zombies. There's traps. It's like you get it the second you look at it, but
Yeah.
there's progression hooks that make it really worthwhile. And the way zombies, you'll snipe a zombie because the sniping's great. It's a spin-off of Sniper Elite, which has amazing sniping mechanics.
Yeah, it looked like the guns performed well. I mean, I having
sure.
not played, it looked like they worked well.
The shooting feels good, and sometimes you'll shoot a zombie and they will just turn to dust. You'll just blow up their whole
Yeah.
being. You won't just blow up their head. You'll shoot them and they will cease to be. That's
pretty great.
That kind of stuff's satisfying.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
So does it? You know, we've been living in a non-Left 4 Dead world. Mm-hmm. Does it itch that scratch?
It itches that scratch for me. I think on the harder difficulties, it's closer to Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead was always a very difficult game. Zombie Army Trilogy, interestingly enough, they added all the characters from Left 4 Dead in DLC as playable. So all 8 from Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, which is interesting.
Which is awesome.
That
Yeah.
is interesting. So you're saying it's not quite. I mean, because it really sounds like a Left 4 Dead game,
Yeah.
but it's just because
it'll-
it's easier. You're saying it's not so much Left 4
I mean,
Dead?
I think so. I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
I guess for me, Left 4 Dead feels so singular in that, I mean, they both lean into the zombie movie tropes, which is cool. I think this one is much more campy, whereas Left 4 Dead is a little bit more like Day of the Dead. I guess for me, what is appealing about Left 4 Dead is how tight those shooting mechanics feel too. Like that game just feels good, and the procedural difficulty on that always ramped it up. Whereas this just felt like kind of, in the best possible way, mindless junk food, where it's like it just felt good to shoot zombies with the sniper. For me, it's not like I'm not thinking about this the way I did Left 4 Dead, but like it was fun, and especially with the games that we don't have out right now, I think it's a nice stopgap if you want to play with a couple of friends.
It's a good January game.
It feels like it's something that would eventually make its way to like Game Pass. So I think that would be a perfect place to play something like this.
Yeah, I will also say Left 4 Dead had those special infected that really set it apart and made you have to think.
Like
in
the
an interesting
witches
way.
and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whereas in Zombie Army it seems to all just be like, there's normal zombies and there are really tanky zombies.
Yeah.
And there are snipers, but they're all pretty easy to deal with.
For sure. And
They're
I think
sniping zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They teleport around.
yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
It is wild. Like
What a
the
world.
I mean,
The
they're an
camp-
army.
Yeah.
It's an army.
Yeah.
Some of the zombies have guns and they'll just spray them completely randomly, like they have no
war-
idea how to use them.
War against the dead, man.
And I think Zombie Army is more structured in its storytelling, and like you can't avoid some of those. They're just like boss battles, whereas the beauty of Left 4 Dead is those water cooler moments that you come across almost randomly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So it's on all platforms?
No Switch.
No Switch.
No Switch.
It's on PC via Epic Game Store.
Okay.
Yeah, Xbox
Gotcha.
and PS4.
All right. That's cool. And it's out now. And it's how much?
I think it's only 50.
I think so. I can check that, but
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. All right. So 2 down, 2 to go.
Making progress.
We're getting through these games. So the last week, or maybe even like 10 days, I walked by Miller's desk, and Miller is playing the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics. And I know Miller hasn't given a score to it yet, but I've seen his face. Right? I've seen
We've
his
also
face.
seen my head get lower
Yeah.
and lower as I sink further into my chair.
oh no.
And you'll be like, "Hey, everybody, everyone's leaving. Miller, you're the last person in the office." And he's like, "Bye," and you just
See
see
you
him
later.
turn back to the tactics. Now that said, let's first get this out of the way.
Yeah.
The Dark Crystal show that it's based off
Yes.
of, really great. I don't know if anybody else watched it. I loved it.
I love it too. I can't recommend that show to enough people. I was so pleased when you and I discovered that we'd both watched it to
Yeah.
completion because like
Because you're playing this game.
yeah, because we were because we were playing this game and it's just great. You should watch that show. It's better than you think it's going to be.
And not only that, it has a a documentary, like how we made
Yeah.
it or something that comes along with it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because they did puppetry, it's like the level of
Artistry
is
and technical
insane
expertise
in that game, and
Yeah.
in that show, and it's worth watching. Now, to be clear, that I watched the first episode and I was really annoyed by the Gelflings. Like the Gelflings, even in the original Dark Crystal, kind of annoy me because they're almost too human. This is my own little rant about like I like
Strong
Muppets that kind of
feelings,
like
yeah.
do the like kind of like animal. Like they don't try to have lips. They're just like they just move their mouth
Sure.
with sound. But the Gelflings have like more to them, and it makes them in this weird uncanny valley of they make me uncomfortable.
There's a lot about that show that in some ways they lean into the way that things make you uncomfortable, right? Like it's almost that they're conscious of it, right?
Yeah.
That the Gelflings and the Skeksis, all these weird creatures feel otherworldly, and so rather than make it not be that, there's a fundamental kind of like, oh, this is. Even like the good guys, this feels weird, right? Like it feels
I would agree,
kind of
but the
uncomfortable.
Skeksis, when they talk, they do the mouth does this thing, which
Sure.
I don't have a problem with. When the Gelflings talk,
it's the lips, right?
It's the lips.
Okay.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And so the game itself. It leans into that art style, and there's a lot of Gelflings on the screen, which, by the way, to me is kind of off-putting. But tell us about the game.
Well, it's this is like a very clear line of inspiration from Final Fantasy Tactics to Dark Crystal Tactics.
Tactics Ogre, the classics.
Yeah, like those kind of classic grid-based tactics games. And there are some things that they get right about that formula. And for all of my frustrations with it, that I will regale you with momentarily, I think there's some fun stuff in there. There are times that I'm having fun in the battles, just because it's inherently enjoyable to have a grid set up, and you've got different characters with different powers, and I do this one power with one guy, and that lets me do a special different power with a different guy that requires that the first guy's power has been triggered. That kind of stuff is engaging. and it's fun when you like pull it off. The problems are that there's just a lot of things that feel very like a game from 10, 15 years ago, right? I mean, this is a licensed tie-in game. It
fills in a gap from the show.
It fills in some gaps. There's parts of it that are retelling moments from the show, but then there's parts, if for anybody who has watched the show, there's some of the characters who go off at one point to kind of go recruit some more friends
An
to
adventure,
help,
yes.
right? And you don't see that part in the show. They just kind of go away and then they come back at a certain point, right? So you get to kind of have some of that action going on, but the storytelling in the game just isn't very strong, and so when you go off on those side adventures, they don't feel especially compelling from a narrative perspective. And the battles themselves start to feel really rote, especially because it strongly encourages kind of this grindy approach that feels pretty old-fashioned, quite frankly, where you get up to a main story mission and you're like, wow, this is like a level 28 story mission? That seems really rough. All my guys are like level 22. And then you just go grind. And the grinding missions aren't fun. I mean, they're not hard either, but they're just missions where you're like, okay, go on to a previous map and kill some dudes. It'll take you like 10 minutes. And that's how you get XP and treasure.
And that's how you get that look on Miller's face at the end of the day.
And so, it feels, I suspect that this is a game that feels longer than it is, but it is also really long. And I think for some people who are really big Dark Crystal fans and or really big Tactics fans, you could maybe find something here that's compelling. I mean, there's an interesting job system, not entirely unlike what Tactics did, or Final Fantasy Tactics did back in the day. But even that has some flaws to it about how the progression works and how few abilities you can be running at any given time. And so it ultimately feels like one of those projects that like there was some ambition here, but it does kind of fall flat.
Which is weird because on paper someone said like, I'm going to take this license that you like and the show that you like, and I'm going to make a Final Fantasy Tactics inspired game. I'd be like, you should do that. Yeah. Right? I mean, like that I would be like 100% on board.
Mm-hmm. And we're not going to rush it to meet the time the series launches.
Which they didn't.
Yeah.
And so you would have hoped that extra time would have let them really polish through some things and make some more interesting powers and really tweak the job system to be better than it is. But it all kind of feels like right in the middle of the road.
And it feels like it touches that dangerous game, which is also something I find with games sometimes, especially in a world where we have so many games to choose from.
Yeah.
Is that balance between I want a game to have enough, like I want it to like be like, man, there's more. Yay. I don't want there to be, oh, there's more. Oh my God, when will this end?
Yes.
Right?
Which is what happened in this game.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
You don't feel especially compelled to keep going back to it. And that's kind of problematic. So I'm still actively playing. I'm getting close now.
Yeah.
I think to the end. But it's one that's hard to recommend, I think.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. But the show we recommend. Just to be positive on that end, we'd like to say we recommend the show.
I love that show. It's great. It's better. It's better than the original movie. I'm going to go out there and say that.
I would agree.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
How well do they capture the look of the show?
Not super well.
That's too bad.
It feels more sort of like, I mean, they get right the idea of these kind of strange looking creatures and environments, but there is something fundamental about the style of presentation that they did in the show, with the puppetry and with these sort of handcrafted things that just doesn't translate here, and so there's a lot that's lost. They
should have shown like a hand up from the floor. Since you're viewing it from above, you could see the hand below guiding them and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Well, it's hard. I mean, the show, literally the charm of the show is that everything is like a physical set. I mean, there is some CG they talk about, but I mean, that it's a physical thing and that the artistry really shows through. So it already has this kind of really established style that you already like. You know what I mean? And it's not like, oh, there's the realism with the actors, and they kind of redid this, and I get it. It's now it's a competing art style.
Oh yeah.
Against an art style that's already really, really good.
Yeah.
And
iconic to what the franchise is.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you did a Dark Crystal thing and it didn't have the puppets, it would be weird.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that going on here, that even though it's a video game and obviously you're not going to do puppets,
It'd be so expensive.
it'll be really expensive. I guess
expensive.
you could.
You could. It'd be so expensive.
Early Mortal Kombat style.
Right.
Yeah.
Spray.
But yes,
Dark Crystal, the fighting game.
Yeah.
If there's a takeaway here, though, it's that like you shouldn't dismiss that show. You should go watch it on Netflix. It's really great. Yeah.
Yes.
A
of
lot of awesome voice talent in that show.
Yeah. It is indeed. So, all right, we have the final game that we're going to discuss today is Warcraft III Reforged, which we touched on a little bit last week, but Dan had just started playing it. The game had just hit, and basically the controversy had just begun. So, Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about? First of all, I think we should start with all the mess around it, right? I think it kind of taints to some degree just even talking about the game. So let's talk about how does the community feel about Warcraft 3 Reforged?
Well, it's the user Metacritic score is, I think, the lowest ever, right?
Lowest
very
ever.
Close to very close to lowest ever.
I saw a thing that said they had actually moved a game they hated the most as the lowest user score on Metacritic, and people started giving it better scores to move it up to make sure that Warcraft was last.
And
yeah,
the 0.5 or 0.8 or whatever it's at now, that's a little bit hyperbolic, but
Hell hath no fury like a gamer scores, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can say, having the review is probably out on the site by the time this podcast airs, and the game is a disappointment, and I mean, I'm a little shocked by that. Like, this is not the quality that we expect from Blizzard, to say the least. It's got plenty of problems, and this is one of those times where it's one of those strange situations where the remaster essentially doesn't add anything beneficial and only dials back things, which is completely unfathomable.
not
So like
typically what
literally,
you want.
you would say playing the original is better. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not to that point. There are some good things to be. Some of the assets, the new assets, are really great.
Okay.
But not all of them are, and that's unnerving when you're dealing with the other litany of complications that go along with this. So from a multiplayer standpoint, not everyone uses these functions. I understand that, but clans are gone, ladder is gone. These are things that the hardcore multiplayer fan base that has stuck with the game through decades is now finding themselves without.
And I even saw some people saying too that the old version of the game has kind of been screwed up by some of the things that they've
correct.
changed.
You
So
are
that upgraded automatically.
Yeah.
You must
Oh no.
have the new stuff to play. You can still use classic assets and everything, but you have to download all the new files and play on the new system.
Has Blizzard said yet if they're going to add those features later?
They have put out
a very long post.
but it's very broad in what it's
Yeah.
going to address and fix, and whether or not those things are going to be fixed is irrelevant to how we're looking at the launch and reviewing the product now.
For sure.
And I saw that gamers were very angry because essentially the opening paragraph, and I'm paraphrasing at this point and going to get it a little wrong, was like, it opens with the apology of like, I'm really sorry this game isn't what you thought it was. Not that like, hey.
Apparently, some people told Game Informer last year that it was going to be something completely different. I don't know what happened there.
Listen, I'm really sorry that you're upset that I was out late last night.
Yeah. It is definitely one of those kind of apologies where you're like, I mean, you screwed some things up, and they're like, no, you just have a bad view of things. So it starts off with a bad tone, definitely. And I mean, I think gamers they get mad about a lot of things. They're like, how does this happen? And it's like, well, these guys are on a schedule. You know what I mean? Like, they're apparently not making enough money. There's a lot of reasons why they didn't finish it, but it is disturbing.
The end user doesn't care about any of those.
They don't care about any of those things. And the disturbing thing is, and I think Dan pointed this out, is that Blizzard is not a company known for doing this, right?
Absolutely right.
For launching a game and going like, okay, I get it. We made a bunch of mistakes. We're gonna get there. Like, they're an out-of-the-box company that supports games later, not a like, this is what we call Blizzard Early Access, and you as an early Patreon member, like on our Kickstarter, like that's not what Blizzard's supposed to do. So it seems really out of character.
I just don't know why they released it.
Their hallmark has always been like the product. The game is polished beyond belief and of utmost quality, and that is not the case here. I've experienced a lot of different weird bugs and errors playing through it. I had one mission, whenever I would try to load it, it would just say, "You failed," and take me to the defeat screen. And
Wow.
And out of nowhere, I was like, okay, what do I do here? Well, I'll try it a few more times. I tried it a few more times. Didn't work, so I had to reload the whole game, and then it worked. But like that's just one of like so many little things, and they all add up to be this just. It's like what is this? Where did this come from? Like, just strange lighting errors out of nowhere. Like just a lot of stuff that you would never expect.
I mean, did they just need to get it out before Q4 was done? Like
That's not
'cause
for
that's-
me
But
to
that's-
say.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's-
maybe, but the thing here is that, I mean, Blizzard has to understand that this is cumulative to their messaging over the last year. Like this is not just one thing. This is all the things they've done wrong and continuing to do wrong. Like if this was the first thing, before all the Hearthstone mess, before all the like, you have a mobile phone, don't you? Like before all the bad messaging, this is additive. For them to launch a game now with all that other stuff, it's not like in the rearview mirror 10 years ago. It's literally in the backseat of the car, right? That
It's
you're
what's
driving
happening now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And to go out and put this game out is staggering. I mean, it concerns me by the way, as a huge Blizzard fan,
Yes.
it concerns me that the company is doing something like this.
It's staggering because of the tier that we've come to expect of Blizzard.
where we put them,
right?
The pedestal
I mean,
they're
it,
on.
It wouldn't be staggering for a lot of other video game companies because we don't have those crazy high expectations. But Blizzard has for so long done stuff that's so good and so consistent, and they've been so consistent, I mean, that when they have this string of like both bad messaging and just bad decisions, and in this case, a game that's
A bad product.
a bad product.
It is.
That's
It's a
striking.
bad remaster of an amazing game.
Yes.
It's the easy way to put it here. And I can say personally, like the review experience has been heartbreaking for me. I got into literally the reason I'm in the seat today is because of playing the original, Warcraft.
Sure.
And that is what got me. Like instead of just being like games are cool, this is like something that I want to be a part of and I want to be involved in. And this unfortunately this remaster does not show any of that. What they're known for, and it's rough.
It also has a thing that I understand why Activision did it, and this is the business Andy stating that. I understand why they did it, which is they're saying any mod you make in this particular version is owned by Activision. It's very clear.
Now, from what I'm, let's tackle this for a bit.
Okay.
I think this was already part of the StarCraft II ensemble. It's just being added to this, which, again, absolutely will have a stifling effect. My prediction will have a stifling effect on the map-making community, which has created so many amazing things inside of Warcraft 3 from even back 20 years ago. That is one of the actual great things that I've had about this experience is going back and playing custom maps with this new in Warcraft 3 Reforged. A lot of titles which you can see the roots of like Clash Royale basically is a game mode called Castle Fight that you can still play today, and it's a lot of fun.
Which has got to be how old is that mod?
20 plus years.
Yeah, wow.
Right,
That's
right.
crazy.
Whenever the game came out,
That's
I remember
crazy.
playing those back in college, like being like, "Oh, this is really cool." But I didn't really put it together that game style is essentially what became Clash Royale, which is crazy to think about. And all those other modes, tower defenses, survival modes and mods, team survival experiences, all of the Dota likes, all of these things all happened there.
It was,
I mean,
a hotbed.
Yeah, I mean, it is basically a kernel of the game industry today in
I
a
know.
lot of ways. It's nuts.
And
Yeah.
you can still go back and guess. Thankfully, there's a glimmer of a ray of sunshine. Those things are still incredibly fun to play, and I have spent the majority of my time playing those. And just I load up Castle Fight and I'll play for 4 hours. No problem.
I don't think anyone's arguing that those aren't good and those aren't important.
Yeah.
People were just mad because Activision was putting that they want to have ownership of, which I understand. By the way, if you had made a game and then it went on to make multi-billion-dollar franchises, you'd be like, hey, maybe we should put something in our end-user agreement that we have some kind of control over. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but it's unfortunate because I do think you're right. I do think it's going to stifle that, and people will go somewhere else where they can be more creative and that they can have more ownership, right?
What that is just another straw. And there's a lot of straws here.
There are a lot of straws.
That's the thing. Like any of these things, like, oh, there's a portrait missing. Oh, there's a little wonky animation here. Oh, whatever. The map didn't load that one time. But in cumulative, all these things together, along with that hitting at the same time, along with no ladder, no clans, all these things together form this just massive, one at a time. Any of these things could have probably been dismissed.
But it's a hay bale.
But an accumulative thing, exactly. It's an actual hay bale, and it's.
And I don't ever want to like sound like I'm ripping on any developer, because I mean I think developers work really hard, and this is probably this is decisions and things that happen as part of a big company. But it is sad when you see them read like, we love Warcraft 3 as much as the next person, and when you think about how important Warcraft 3 is in the universe of games, that they did such a like that it had a shoddy launch like this is heartbreaking.
It is.
Do you know what I mean?
On both a personal and a meta level, like it's, and
that Blizzard would let it happen. They should have been like, this is the most important game we've made.
I'm sure there were tons of people there fighting against putting this game out right now.
I would agree.
But it just tarnishes, it just tarnishes Blizzard's reputation. There's no getting around it really at this point.
Yeah.
It's been a very interesting walk through history to go back and get to play that game that is historically relevant, and I think still an amazing game today, the original.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible to see that DNA has leaked into not only all of Blizzard stuff, but the gaming world in general.
Yeah.
Just that has been a fascinating and again, disappointing look.
So this is a kind of classic question, but like for someone who was like, hey, I would never play Warcraft 3, I'm super excited about Warcraft 3 Reforged because this is my time to go play this classic, this important piece of history. Given all the problems with it, do you recommend it to that person?
And that's why it's a difficult thing, but I still do. I think the game itself, if you haven't played Warcraft 3, I mean, you could have played it last week, and I'd still let's say that's a great idea. You can play it this week too. You can play the remastered edition, and that's fine. It's still, despite everything.
You wouldn't say wait 6 months, see if they fix some of this junk?
The person who hasn't played Warcraft 3 probably isn't going to get into competitive multiplayer and isn't going to care if there's a lag.
Okay, gotcha.
They can still have the campaign experience, and that is
an awesome campaign.
It really is.
Yeah.
I believe it transcends the RTS genre, and I believe even people who don't like RTSs are still going to find the original story really compelling if they haven't done it yet. Like you see all of that backdrop, the entire thing that became the Warcraft universe over the last 20 years, all of that, Arthas, Janus, Sylvanas, Thrall, and the rest of the gang, dwarves, Tori, all this stuff. It's all there. It's all there, and it's still a really great like mix of different things. You have these little vignette scenarios where it's like, okay, you have this many units, go do this sort of Dungeons and Dragons style map where you're going to meet people and do quests and stuff like that. And you got like hold out until 30 minutes before survive for 30 minutes or build a base and explore. You've got all kinds of different game concepts explored in those missions, of which there are many. You're going to get a lot of game time in. And again, so to sum up your query, still an incredible game and a very disappointing remaster. Yeah, and that's all we can call it now, is a remaster. Forget Reforged. I'm just going to say it. That's it. I mean, that's what it is. There's no reforging of anything. This is just a remaster.
Yeah, deforging.
Well, I saw some people pointing out that, like, even like on the site for it, that they still had pictures of the redone, like they had showed at BlizzCon, the redone cinematics were still on there, even though they had removed them from the final game.
There are some touches of things that we saw when we were out there that are still there, like having the Stratholme characters in the culling, like Meathook and Salam the Flesh Crafter. And they're still there.
Did you just make those names up?
No, okay. I think I got them right. Okay. And if I didn't, it's just a big abomination.
They're close.
They're guys who were in a WoW dungeon that they left into that, but they took out the whole but again, this was all relayed.
Yeah,
that this stuff wasn't going to be right. Yeah. Right. That doesn't make it better.
It doesn't make it better.
I don't know. Probably
and
not.
It I saw a lot of people. And by the way, I'm not saying they're right. Sometimes I think we get a little over dramatic, but they're like, you lied to us. And I think we always have to remember that like game development's hard and you have to make choices after you talk about it. And I always hate it when they're like, don't talk about it. I like when game developers talk about what they want to put in a game, and I know there's going to be concessions that are made along the way. Once again, just some unfortunate pile-on messaging.
And do I think that a lot of the is the 0.8 Metacritic, is that way overbearing?
Yes.
Overdone? Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. But has it been a disappointment? Yes.
When they said they were rolling back the level of changes they were making, did they give a reason at that time? Or were we just...
I believe that the messaging is along the lines of that the core users didn't want any changes.
Was that true in your experience?
I don't know. right? I don't know.
Who they're referring to?
I can't. I don't even want
Yeah.
to fathom the reality of that.
That seems there's things about that ring false to me, if only because like if they're users who don't want changes, I mean, wouldn't the better solution have been, well, let's give them a version where they can click in this pull down menu, like play the mission as it originally was.
So you do have
rather than
you
the
can
changes.
use classic assets instead of the new ones when you play
Sure.
them. That's an option.
But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I mean, they could have taken the next step of that and saying like, okay, well, we've promised us. There's a lot of people who are excited about seeing this game remade in a sort of more modern design aesthetic.
And by the way, you're
So-
100% right. They could have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
right. Like, and they could have still offered to people who like, I don't want that. I want those changes. Okay, fine. Like, you don't have to have
There's
the changes.
a checkbox here.
Sure.
You,
I mean,
you,
yeah,
you do it, but it takes work. That takes time and
would
effort.
totally take.
You know,
work.
originally when we were out there seeing this immaculate thing that was being created, there was even discussion of getting to play some of the so-called, the lost levels.
Yeah.
Things that
Right.
didn't make it in. But
that did not happen.
I mean,
It's sad.
what else can you say?
Yeah.
A lot. And you can check out my review, which is probably on the site now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a final score to give you on this podcast today, but it'll be up on the site, and based on our discussion, you can tell that it will not be a good one. So
It'll be between 1 and 10.
those are the score ranges that we use.
It won't be a 0.8.
0.25?
No, it won't. It won't be
0.25?
that. It won't be quite that.
Okay.
Dan, you look like you need a hug.
Like
Can
I said,
give you a
I
hug?
cannot express like how really devastating this has been to me as a insane fan of Blizzard, and again, someone who shaped my entire. Without Warcraft, I don't think I would be in where I'm at right now with games as part of my life.
And I mean, that's the thing is the fans, the reason it has a 0.5 score on
Yes.
Metacritic is because the fans love the games.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean?
Because-
That happens not because they're like indifferent.
to a lot of those users who are slamming this is a betrayal of a game that shaped them and has shaped the industry. It's a big deal.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things too where I think that's how people think they can be heard.
Absolutely.
And
That's-
understand, you
that
know
is
what I mean?
that is them
They're-
giving their voice. That's where they can voice their dissatisfaction. Absolutely.
Yeah, like if you won't listen to us on the forums and you won't listen to us here, will you listen when we essentially hit you in the pocketbook? I know it's kind of a little bit of a
Vote with your wallet.
kind of thing of that by lowering your Metacritic score and putting these things,
And-
we're stopping sales of your game.
And on that note, they have automated refunds for the game. You just click a button and apparently it's done. So
Which is a good move to
I
help
agree.
with a lot of people that are mad. Give them that, but you're just like, or you could have made the game better.
So no hug, Dan. You don't want me to come out
I
there?
need several hugs.
Okay. I'm
The
gonna come out and give
jacket
you a
is
hug.
giving him a hug.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a. Aw,
What is happening
look
right
at
now?
this.
Look at this.
Aw.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
That's what the game world needs: is more hugs.
Lots more hugs.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, a lot more hugs. So there's before we go to the next segment of community emails, which we'll be coming up to, there's just some stuff that went on this week that I just thought we should talk about. So I
Ooh.
just want to do some
Stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about some stuff.
just some general stuff. On a couple of personal notes, which I'm going to start with, which is I've been watching this Race to the World First this time around in World of Warcraft, which is like Limit versus Method. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but when it's like they started doing it in Destiny 2, like when the new raid comes out, who kills
I
the
heard
last
about
boss?
this. They had to pull the boss, right?
It's been crazy. The thing that's cool about this, and the only reason I bring this up, and by the way, this could be decided by the time the podcast comes
Yes.
up tomorrow, because Limit is very close. We just had a reset in Europe, so Method is doing going to do a re-clear and have more gear, and they're really good, and they've won a lot of world first. So like Wednesday night is going to be a big giant, attack of the final boss. And by the way, it could be losing right now, and if that happens, I'll be very sad if like they beat the boss while I was here, because I've been enjoying watching it. But it is an interesting thing because Limit actually puts up they run their Discord, so you can listen in to the discussions, you can hear them talk, which Method does not do. And the only reason I bring this up is that I think it's interesting if you haven't ever looked at this, when you watch these things, to hear their strategies into this stuff and the way that they do things, and even to the way they send emails to Blizzard during the event that are like these things are broken. They have like a guy on the team that they'll go like, hey, make sure you send that thing in there, and they'll even bounce off ideas like, hey, we're thinking about making this change, and they sent one of these changes to Limit, and they were like, if you make this change, your breaking all the strategies we did and ruining this event. And Blizzard did it anyway. And then so you get to watch them on the stream be like...
Limit did it anyway.
Yeah, and they were like, I can't believe you did this. And then the next day, they reverted it back. So you kind of get to watch this weird, like, because they don't beta test. They don't do any kind of like testing ahead of time. They do for a lot of bosses, but not the final boss.
For high-end encounters, I mean, in an MMO tradition has always been that they're either broken or completely unbeatable
exactly.
by design.
Like they go out live and we'll figure it out, right? So it's kind of fun to watch and them talk about the math and learn, and it's just an interesting thing. And I know it's just totally for me as a WoW head, but I thought I should at least mention it because I do think it is interesting, and it's interesting to be able to listen in on a team like this work so hard to beat all those bosses over a week. It's pretty fascinating. Though this said, they take a lot of breaks. There's a lot of breaks.
It's a marathon.
It is a
sprint.
marathon. Yeah, it is definitely a very big marathon. And there's a lot of stuff that you just don't understand because they're next level, right? They're next level rating. And even as a WoW fan, sometimes I'm like, what are they doing? What is the encounter doing? Because they're not interested in stopping and explaining it.
Sure.
They're interested in getting in the world
It's
first.
a far cry from reading Alakazam for EverQuest raids back in the day,
it
right?
is. It is definitely a far cry. But I want to say, like, I'm a fan of both guilds, but I would love to see Limit win this time.
So what happened? They removed a boss, right?
They just removed the boss. It's just like in the middle of an encounter. I mean, there's been it's the weird thing. You see all kinds of weird things. Like, there was actually some people, like Method was using some tricks that
exploitative.
That a lot of people would say are exploits. Which is essentially the boss was respawning quickly, so you could you could use a power, pull the boss, which would reset all your powers, and then the boss would pop back up, and you would still have that power going for 20 more seconds or 30 more seconds. Which, to most people that play these type of games, you're like, that feels pretty exploity. It's not intended for you to have a power for those first 20 seconds. It's free DPS, you know. In this kind of like, I should point this out in Mythic type top end encounters. It's tuned very tightly.
Extremely tight. Like everything has to be perfect. Your rotation you cannot miss that button press of 3 while at the highlighted skill,
like
right?
They're bare, like they want you to do this much DPS in this phase. They want you to do this much DPS in this phase. And like you have to hit those markers to pass that content while doing all the other things in the thing. So when you get 20 seconds of extra DPS from someone's, superpower, quote unquote, their cooldown, that's you're changing the encounter. But they did it in the middle of the night, and I think Limit sent a note that was like complaining that Method had done this, and I think Ian himself, who is the head of World of Warcraft, sent him a note that said like, we were all asleep. It was the European time that it went. I guess if we would have been awake, we would have sent him a note directly to the game. People in game been like, don't do that. Because there are instances of people doing things like that in dungeons, particularly mythic dungeons. By the way, we're getting into a deep, deep hole that we don't want to go down into, but there's a lot there.
But essentially what happened was that they were using this not as intended method, and so Blizzard pulled the boss out to make sure he didn't get beat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that we had that
one, but they only did it the once.
Right.
Yeah, and then they're back at it.
Is there a prize for winning this race?
Well, you get that fat loot.
Is it? It's all about the loot.
It's not. I mean, the interesting thing here is these top tier guilds that are doing this. They are spending so much gold in game. It's ridiculous. Like they are buying items at a premium rate to get them at this time, and they have bags fulls of BOEs, like bind on equips, that they hand out to people as they do them. And they do runs that they'll do a run with all male characters except for the tanks to get male gear to funnel them to one person in the group to up their gear, right? And they'll ask people in the community, like Limit will be like, who wants to go that already has a like high level chest so you can trade one? And people in the community go and support them by joining in, going on the runs, getting gear and giving it to them to help them finish and be more powerful, because their eye levels are insane already. Like they're already pretty high eye level, which is like basically the your light level for Destiny.
Your level above the level cap.
Yeah, so it's an insane orchestra of things and gold, and it is ridiculous at every level. And they also, all the people who play in these guilds, they have to keep and maintain like 4 to 6 characters at top end level, because what they'll do is they'll stack. Like, for instance, they'll go, like, in this particular fight, they'll be like, mages are really good. Fire mages own. So you want to have 4 of them. But you don't normally just have 4 of your top players are fire mages.
Right.
So they already have to have a fire mage ready to go. And by the way, just for this one encounter. Like, at a different encounter, they might be like, we want 6 warlocks.
For your
we want, so they stack the character types and the classes and the damage types to the encounters. I know, it's nuts. It's totally nuts, right? And by the way, if you play WoW or any of these games, maintaining one character can be a very it can be a lot of a job, right?
Yeah.
And to do it at that level is quite insane.
I saw in the YouTube comments from last week's show that someone requested an MMO or specifically WoW podcast with you and Dan. There's a lot of inside baseball that you guys could get into. Just saying.
There is a lot of inside. I can talk about World of Warcraft way too much.
We did do some ancient, like many years ago.
Yeah, a long
Yeah.
time ago you did.
stuff like
We
that.
did have one with Phil Kohler. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Me and Andy had a few of them too.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know
and
what
also
time.
Adam back in the day. I mean, this has
Yes.
started a long time ago. We did have a specific MMO podcast.
Respec,
Yeah,
right?
Respec Radio.
Yeah, yeah, we did. Yeah, but it is long gone, and now I have wasted like 10 minutes talking about this, and that was not
This
the goal.
people
Not
find
a
it
waste,
interesting.
yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up.
And so also too, I wanted one other quick note was that I did finish Kentucky Route Zero since I played it last week. And last
okay.
week I'm bringing this up because I was very positive on the game for those first 3 chapters, so I thought were really interesting. The 4th and 5th chapter for me, and I just want to get this out here before, so I just don't have the one thing. I don't have a review like Joe, and Joe and I don't entirely agree here, but I feel like the game slides off for me a little bit towards the end, and I just want to get that out there so that I don't just have like an extremely positive view out there. I get a little jaded towards the end of that game, and I just want people to
But
know
it's
that.
still an interesting game.
It is an interesting game, and as I stated on the podcast last week, I played it. This is one of the things I do sometimes. I played it a bit out of spite. Which is
You gotta love
playing.
it.
this is such an Andy thing to do, by the way, and that I wanted to be able to argue with people that think it's the greatest game ever, right? Sure. And the only way to have a decent argument with someone who thinks this is the greatest game ever is to play it,
It's true.
right?
I actually think that's admirable, right? Like that you're going to make the call of like, if you're going to say that this is the greatest thing ever, I don't have the right to disagree with you, even though I think you're wrong, because I haven't engaged with the product. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be argued that not
More people
doing,
should do the- yeah,
yes,
yeah, more
that
people-
not
yeah.
doing that is a pretty big problem in like conversations around games and other pieces of media right now.
Yeah, so I mean, not that I went into this thing going, like, by the way, I want to point out, I didn't go into like, this is not the greatest game
Right.
ever. I was like, people are saying this is the greatest game ever. That's a lofty
Sure.
claim, like a very lofty claim. If someone is saying that, I need to play this to either A, go, wow, they were right, or B, go, I'm sorry, right? It's not, and be able to argue that. And I like arguing, so there is that kind of added bonus when I do get to go like, I think you're wrong, right? Kind of thing. But it is a good game. It is a good game. It is an interesting game. It is an interesting. I think it is one of those things. It's a great example of like games are art. Like like sometimes when people are like, is our games art, which is a dumb conversation that's been going on forever. But I always kind of think of this one as like, that's a good example of like this thing is interesting and makes you think. Right, and that's what art should do.
If
and
it's not art, what is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so I think that is definitely something very positive I can say about Kentucky Route Zero. And I did enjoy many parts of it. I just think it does wane a bit as you get further along.
Sure.
So just wanted to bring that up. But okay, so here we go. Dan Houser left Rockstar.
And he did.
That happened.
It did. Kind of out of the blue.
Kind of out of the blue. Though, I mean, I will admit, it's been one of those things like, I've thought about the fact that, like, what do you do next? You make another Grand Theft Auto. You make another Red Dead. Like, they have made some of the greatest games ever, right? I mean, I think as an artist, that's got to be really challenging to deal with, especially, too, because it's not like, maybe he wants to make Bully 2, right? But I mean, you kind of, now that Rockstar games take 5 or 6 years to make, you kind of have to make that. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he's made plenty of money. Do you know what I mean? And he's driven the company Rockstar, and I feel like he is the rock or the star in the Rockstar name. And he and Sam, and like Leslie, who's gone already, was a big part of that history. And I know they have a lot of really talented people there, obviously, because they've made some insane games.
Yeah, no
that
game like that comes from one
person.
For
Yes,
sure.
yeah. Be very, very, very clear. But I mean, these guys were definitely visionaries and pushed an idea, right, and helped foster an idea with a group, and so I think they deserve credit for that. And so very interesting to see that they would move on. But I understand to some degree, like that's, you got to top it. You know what I mean? It's been the next 6 years of your life making the better Grand Theft Auto when you've already made a pretty great Grand Theft Auto. And by the way, I do think they'll make a better Grand Theft Auto, but I understand how that can be challenging as a creative.
Yeah. Do we know anything about what he's doing next?
No.
I
or if
wonder
he is going to do anything.
Yeah, I feel like it would be, if I were him, I could see the appeal of staying in games but not needing every game I ever work on to be like a record-shattering, earth-destroying event the way that Rockstar's games are.
Yeah, I mean, to sell like 110 million copies or whatever, like GTA. I mean, you like, you know what I mean? Like that's a mic. Like that's like bye. You know, like I'm out. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that, right? It's and you could do something different, but will he? Do you think he would?
In related news, here's our new editor.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be crazy?
I'm sure he could never work again, also, is the thing. So I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, like somebody in that position, I think it's not completely unreasonable to think they might be like, you know what, I contributed to a medium that I care a lot about, and we could go sit on a beach.
Yeah.
You know, like people do that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Also, I've got a chance to meet with him and speak with him a couple times. You know what I mean? It's a really interesting guy. Like it's. I always enjoy meeting people that are like lead creatives, like
Sure.
at that level, and listening to the way they kind of view things. I know he was really into like he's into all forms of entertainment. You know, music and film. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that he could go do that maybe wouldn't be games too. By the way, but I do think it does bring up an interesting point, and I'd be interested to hear your guys' thought on it. Like, do you think this is like for Take-Two, right? The parent company, like this was going to come someday or another. Do you think that's bad for them? Do you think that opens up that they would sell Take-Two? Do you know what I mean? Do you think it changes things at Take-Two that Dan Houser has left?
Probably not.
You
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
As much as, people in the industry know what we have to thank him for and stuff,
Yeah.
I feel like at a consumer level, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to sell exactly as many copies as it would have.
Yeah.
For sure. I do wonder if, with him leaving, if they now stick to more of that tentpole of Red Dead and GTA. I would love to see Rockstar take a risk like they did with Red Dead and put some new IP out there. But I wonder if this is like, we're going to stick to what we know type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, Rockstar's one of the greatest studios ever. It's made some of the greatest games ever. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: some of the best and smartest writing I have seen had been in Rockstar games, and and he was a part of that. So kudos, thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was good. So best of luck in what
As
you do
Miller
next.
said, we'll see you at work on Monday.
That's right. Got a preview for you.
Oh boy.
Best of luck as my assistant, Dan Houser.
Do you know how long that would last?
All of 30 seconds.
I think if we convinced him to come here, he would land, walk outside, and go, "It's cold here," and instantly turn around,
Yeah.
and we like not even make it to the building.
Or buy the sun and move it closer to the earth.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Okay, so the last little thing I want to do is that there was a thing out there, and by the way, I would love to know more. There was an interview with Phil Spencer that was on a site that I'm not too terribly familiar with called Protocol. But one of the things, the quote he said has been resonating today, which is that when you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward. Just a little reminder, Phil had Xbox, Microsoft. That's not to disrespect Nintendo and Sony, but their traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years. I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys, while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world. Ultimately, that's the goal. And so I kind of get a little things around here is that we all know what Nintendo and Sony have done, by the way, and what great. But he's talking about the streaming service future, and that them having a cloud service, and Amazon obviously has AWS, their web services that are already in place. That Sony and Nintendo don't have that level of infrastructure, data centers throughout the world, right? That they have, and he feels that the fight going forward is going to be in these kind of data center streaming places, and that his competition is Google and Amazon because that they have that same level of investment in place. But I'd like to point out last year, I think it was last year, Sony made a deal with MS
Yeah.
to work with Azure. So Sony already has access to Azure to some degree, maybe because it's not inherent, that changes it a little bit, but it is an interesting statement and a bit of a kind of like laying down the gauntlet. Did he lay down a little bit of a gauntlet?
I don't read it as that, actually. I read it as I think people at that tier of business like to frame the narrative.
Yep.
And I think that this is an attempt, one of many that if I was a betting man, I would say in the next year, we're going to see a lot more communication that echoes something like this.
Yep.
And it's an attempt to reframe the Microsoft narrative around like
Game Pass, their
Game
services,
Pass,
and why they're so important. Yeah.
Look how well our streaming and Game Pass is doing, and compared to what Google's doing and what Amazon's doing, rather than focusing on the numbers of like, look how we're competing with Sony for how many boxes have been sold, like that kind of stuff. That's what I think that he's trying to get at there obliquely.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that he's...
Move the goalpost.
He's changing where the goalpost is so that he can declare success in a field that he thinks he can be successful at.
So you think that they already think that they're not going to sell enough Xbox Series X to compete with PlayStation 5?
I do.
You do think that's what that's saying?
I don't think it's oblique at all. I think it's just straight up saying, let's take a look at the future, and the future is Game Pass. The future is Netflix of games. Whoever's going to do it right is going to win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stadia doesn't appear to be doing it right or winning.
Yeah.
So Microsoft has all these services already. Game Pass is a phenomenal value, I think. I just got it on PC.
Yeah.
It's a stupid amount of stuff for
Yeah.
the current price. Once everybody uses your service, then you can charge whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But it's simply the same. They're taking a look at what did Netflix do, what does Amazon Prime Video do, and Hulu, Disney Plus, all this stuff. You know, whether I like it or not,
It's the future.
that is what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and you know, those are all the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what they're looking at, right? That is like, you just go onto your service, you play the game you want to play on whichever, on Microsoft service. That's what they want. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's very funny to say we're not competing against Sony, we're competing against Stadia. It's like saying we're competing against Virtual Boy, actually. So we're actually doing pretty
win!
good.
Yeah.
I think what that statement
Right?
is more,
Like-
it's definitely a little bit more all-encompassing, though. Like, this is, maybe Stadia didn't do it right. But you've got to think that those giants who already control all this, like, everything in the cloud space.
Well, I mean, Amazon's been trying to be a part of the gaming space for a while with like Lumberyard and some other games that they've had some like fits with, like trying to make them and not making them, failed attempts.
They flirted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still have a game group and it's still coming, right?
Yeah.
Game streaming?
We assume at
coming?
some point.
Especially
assume
with
at some point.
AWS.
We assume, by the way,
they
they're
own
just trying to
Twitch.
make games. They're just trying to do
So-
games right now, like just games on a platform somewhere.
They've been
right?
trying.
They've been trying. They have one
trying.
coming this April, right?
They do.
So
New World.
New
Yep.
World. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name.
It's to be fair, their most ambitious thing that they seem to have tried.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be good or not. It's gone through some revision, but it is a ambitious concept.
Massive revisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Massive revisions.
So, I mean, I think everyone's, and I think the other thing too, as there was an announcement this week that NVIDIA put out their NVIDIA Now, GeForce Now, which is also another streaming service, is that I don't think it's easy to, I think it's easy to be like, Stadia is a failure. I think it's one of those things. Stadia started the race now because they know the race is later down the line, and like they have a lot of time to do things and figure it out.
Yeah.
And I don't, by the way, I don't agree with the way they launched in any way, shape, or form. But for NVIDIA, for Microsoft, for everyone, they're getting ready for a fight that hasn't happened.
You have to look
right,
at it.
right. You know, like it's not a fight because everyone's still interested in consoles and in PCs
Certainly.
and playing their games that way. Like streaming as a whole is just not competitive.
12
Yeah.
years ago,
But
OnLive was in the same position, though. It's like, when are people going to suddenly start being interested?
That's a great question. But I mean, I think they feel that like everything points to that as a technology for everything, right? That our technology that even I get this too. Like sometimes I'm like, you know, we work on a laptop at work. I think even Tim Sweeney put this out as a tweet today, and it's kind of like I think he's being part smartass, but also part visionary. He's like, when do we not have computers at work? Essentially, and you're like, Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you know, like do I need a laptop or do I need a screen? You know, like the Chromecast, which Google has done well in that space, where it's like it's a thing that gets you to things online that you do on the cloud, that you're working in the cloud. That EA has a system. I know they've been working on this. That's called, and I always kind of forgot about it. They have that Project Atlas, which they announced back in 2018, which is creating an in-game engine for developing, moving Frostbite and creating games on the cloud, right? Making games in data centers, which is like, by the way, that's the first step. It's like, that's the thing OnLive would not have done, is have an engine designed to make games, specific to that. And I think that there's a different level of push, the way that NVIDIA's invested in it, the way that Amazon's invested in it, the way Google's invested in it, that makes it a different story than the OnLive story. OnLive was the like canary in a coal mine, perhaps. You know what I mean? That's like, hey, this is happening, dead, right? And they did a lot of neat things that I think can happen. So I do think he's right in that respect, but counting out Nintendo and Sony is the part that throws me off in this conversation.
I don't think anybody should get counted out yet, because
it hasn't happened. It's a long way away.
We still have to see. It's just like everything is moving in that direction. I don't want to see what we do for games right now go away. I don't. But when you can play a $60 game for $1 and you have access to 50 of them, like that decision is going to be made in the marketplace regardless of what we want.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we have to remember is that when mobile happened, you know what I mean? We were like, oh, mobile, cute, Snake, whatever, right? You know what I mean?
I love that game.
Like
until they monetized it.
And then the next thing we know, it is, eclipsed standard gaming.
But orders of magnitude.
Yeah, orders
maybe?
of magnitude. Yes,
because everyone has the console.
Because everyone
has
phone. Yeah, exactly. And that's what he's alluding to here, is that trying to reach those 7 billion people. And that's what phones have done and created a lot of revenue. And the thing is too, is you can go, they maybe didn't have the best games necessarily either, and they got it there, right? You know what I mean? So like, I think there is a point there. But it is definitely, I love all your analysis here. I think it's all very, very interesting and good talking points. So we're going to end on that. I think that's a good. We had a good talk here for the last hour about some great games and some not so great games and where games are going. Which is, I hope, the reason that you come and listen to the Game Informer podcast. So before we go to I do want to point out, let people know if you like the Game Informer podcast.
Please do that.
Yeah.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Send us questions at podcast@gameinformer.com. Like at the bell thingy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smash it. Don't just like it. Smash it.
We're
Smash
doing
it.
lots of streaming now.
Yeah,
So
we're
come
trying to do
check
more
us out.
streaming. And
That's true.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Or if the show stinks, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
If the show stinks,
Keep it to yourself.
if the show stinks,
But if you like it, you could share it.
If it stinks, tell one person. If you like it, tell 3. All
All
right,
right,
see,
there you go.
very easy.
And if it stinks, just tell me or Andy.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Or just tell them to listen to the one that Leo does next week. You know what I mean? And then maybe they'll be like,
It'll
oh,
be
I like
different.
that one. No, I like that one. And not this
they
one.
didn't talk about games at all, though.
Yeah,
It's weird.
It's weird. I don't know.
It's an art podcast.
We just make bird noises for an hour and a half.
I'd do that. Let's do that.
Would you? Would you wear a different jacket for that?
I'd get a bird jacket.
Yeah. So we'll be right back to take community questions and chat more about games. Be right back. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. I am your host, Andy McNamara. I am joined today by an amazing panel that you may have met in the first segment. You may have, but I'm going to introduce them because they're just that wonderful. Matt Miller, how you doing?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Excellent. Dan Tack, The Jacket.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it? Leo, Vader.
I'm doing
How's it going?
even better than the first time you asked me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Things just keep getting better for Leo.
I'm just here to waste everybody's time. Alex Stadnick, how you doing back there?
I'm great. Viewers, it's been too long. Good to see you.
Well, you never forget. And someone pointed out this to me once. I got an email like, I think you said this. I have no idea. I don't know people's voices yet. So it's a good chance to remind people
Yes.
whose voice is who. It's just a little, it's a check. Just
Yeah.
a reminder.
I like it.
Mine is
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, that's Leo. I'm Andy.
This is good.
We should reintroduce everyone
Now
again.
that
Yeah.
introductions
Should we do
are in order.
introductions one more time?
This
Yeah.
is, we talked about sharing this podcast in the last segment. Maybe that was a mistake. Okay, all right. So, community emails. First of all, I want to say there were a ton of great emails this week. I want to thank everybody for that. Really fun. I actually, sometimes when we're working on this, I'm like, oh, I got to do that one. I got to do that one. Oh my God, there are too many of these. And then I just keep going, and then we probably have too much to talk about here. But we're going to do it anyway. So we're going down that path. So first off, last week we talked a little bit about achievements, and we got a lot of feedback on achievements, and a lot of people pointing out that Microsoft had a reward system, which we as journalists don't know that much about reward systems because we tend to spend all our time playing the games rather than focus on that. So we would love to talk about that another time and kind of give you a little bit more thought on it.
Gaming is its own reward.
Gaming is its own reward. But one of the questions that did come along I thought was really interesting. This one is, hello, Andy Mac and family. I noticed that there was some talk on trophies achievements last week. I have two quick questions for you. Will we ever get a trophy type system for the Switch? I love having a portfolio of my games and accomplishments and really hope that one day Nintendo implements one. Next is, what is the most difficult trophies achievements that everyone at the table and booth have chased down and achieved? One of mine is the Become a Master trophy from Titanfall 2, which is to place in the top 3 on the Gauntlet scoreboard.
I think we've heard from this person on the live stream, maybe?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
So you
thank you for writing in.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, you're just like, oh, we're not taking
we're
that
not
question.
doing it anymore.
Throw that
I
out.
only ever talked to you once in your life,
Yeah.
and then it's done.
Yeah.
So this was, I don't know how, but I cut and pasted, just said it's sent from Yahoo. So I don't know who did it.
Thanks, Yahoo.
Thanks. We appreciate it. Yahoo. Let's go down the path of, will Nintendo get a Switch, like an achievement system?
Hasn't they messaged that before? I forget. It might have been either Iwata or Reggie, so either way, it might not stand anymore. But I feel like they've put out the message that they want playing the game to be the fun part, and they don't feel like they need to encourage you beyond that. Gaming is its own reward, I think they said.
Wow.
Something smart like that.
But I don't know if I agree with the decision, but I do think that is what Nintendo's philosophy is. And so I'm going to go on the record and say I don't think that they're ever going to do it. Because I think that that's not where they want their focus for their players to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I my thing is that like they have so many other problems with their service as far as like, hey, I got a new Switch. What do I have to do? Why can't I share this game? How do I share? Like,
hey, let's be friends.
Let's be just
Give me your 37-digit code, please.
Just everything is way too complicated in their ecosystem. That if they brought up achievements now, I would be mad. Because I'd be like,
they hadn't done
that. You
else.
hadn't fixed all these other things first.
I think they'll do it.
You think you're gonna do it?
I think they'll do it because eventually some monetization guy is going to be like, this will cause X% more engagement with the product and create this many more purchases and such a thing, and it'll happen eventually.
I mean, because they do have their Nintendo Club, which does give like rewards that do equal to like discounts.
Yeah.
When you buy games, you get coins out of that system.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there a freaking game where you negotiate with a dog about prices?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that a thing in the Nintendo economy? I'm serious. Like
Rusty's Real Deal
Rusty's
Baseball.
Real Deal Baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's only a matter of time.
My dream is for a system like that, kind of integrating with how they have the Nintendo Club set up, where if you 100% the achievements in a Nintendo game, you get extra coins for discounts.
Yeah.
Which is what I believe, by the way, the Microsoft system does give you like discounts.
That's the
based
rewards
on,
we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what
Cool.
That's what they are talking about, and that's what people were talking about last week. Is that they put in enough systems in place to create rewards that are real life rewards. Which was one of the things we talked about a bit with achievements, was that like we wanted them to have meaning, but I think maybe that was lost a little bit in that conversation, because I think what at least what I was trying to say was not meaning as in like cash or real world kind of thing. Though it is nice. I do love it, like in Destiny, the way you could like get all the achievements, and I mean, I know you have to pay for the shirt or the jacket, but that you could get items that you could have access to that only you have access to because you did something in game.
You're winning the right to buy something?
Yeah.
Oh, that is absolutely what it is.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
That is absolutely very real.
I'm into that.
I
Some
bought
of them
it.
are really expensive too.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of cool. Like that you're like, oh, I did that. I cared enough about it that there's a next level thing I can do. And yes, it is giving them more money, but I think that's something.
Yeah.
But I think more along the lines of we were talking a lot of lines about
Tech is
he's so mad.
out.
If you go here, you'll like
I'm
this even
winning
better.
the right to buy something?
You'll
Yeah.
like this even better when you go to the store. If you haven't won the thing, the item is there, but it costs like $7 million.
Every
And so
time,
the code you get just reduces the price.
I just need to frame. I just need to
$20.
frame
Yeah.
things differently.
It's so funny.
It's
Every time I
hilarious.
go to the store, I'm winning. I'm achieving. That's
right.
God, what?
It's a Pavlov's dog kind of thing.
I
They're being
understand. Hey,
taught.
and again, if you like that's fine. I cannot separate the the marketing element of the whole achievement sphere from the rest of it.
Yeah, but to some degree, I do think what we were talking about was giving the achievements meaning that they weren't just like, oh, you finished the training session, way to go. It's like I can't go forward in the game without doing the training mission.
I remember back in the old days, if you actually did like some balls out accomplishment in a game, they would actually send you something. You wouldn't have to pay for it.
You mean Activision used to send you badges for getting like high scores and things like that were rewards for being good at the game.
Now
or
you get the
like
privilege to become
money.
a consumer advocate for the product by wearing the brand, by paying for it.
Yes.
What kind of twisted hellscape has this become?
Yeah, I mean,
wrong, and I'm still in it.
I'm definitely Leo. I felt like this is all wrong, but like I don't like the world where it's like I can't get the cool Destiny like kind of like T-shirt that's like unique and just for me because I accomplished something. I want to be a part of that club. I remember I was going into First Avenue to see a band. The bouncer was like, Destiny. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm a fan. He goes like, that's the achievement shirt, isn't it? And I was like, it sure is. And he's like, right on. And I was like,
you're getting in for free.
I was just like, I love that. Those are like moments you get because of that, right? And I like we had a connection. Because I spent the money, but I was repping that I'm behind that, right?
I had an Overwatch T-shirt last time I went through the TSA. The guy looked at me, he's like, I'm like, yeah, Reaper.
He's like, Genji
cool,
main.
man,
Yeah.
cool. Just let me through, please.
I mean, I think it's I don't know. It's I don't want to live in a world where I can't get it, right? I like being able to make that decision myself.
I'm gonna try to separate and become the happy-go-lucky. I get it.
You know what?
Stay
true to you.
Don't go
let's
happy.
have fun.
Not on our account.
I don't think you get to come back from Twisted Hellscape.
But it's true.
I'm pretty much in your camp actually, Dan. Just to be on the same corner here. That stuff really weirds me out.
But I'd like to point out, you can't be like, I want to play games for $1 and not find a way for developers to make money. And if it's selling shirts to people that want shirts,
hang on,
that's a good way
I'm okay
for them to
buying the
monetize.
shirt. I'm okay buying the shirt. I'm not okay having it tied to some weird
you get the
sort
privilege
of
to buy the shirt because you spent a bunch of time doing something in the game.
I'm pro that. I actually wish there was more. I wish there was more of that.
I'm absolutely okay in buying a product, buying something to rep something that I love. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Because you love it in game, right? If you beat something and it gives you like the gold halo, you wear the gold halo in pride, right?
What if your love could be measured in gamer score?
All right, I give up. I'm already gonna eat.
No, you're not. No.
Oh, good save.
You're
Thank
fine.
you.
No, I'm curious what the community thinks about that for sure.
I'm sure they're gonna tell us.
To answer the question, though,
So we don't think anytime soon that Nintendo will have Switch, except for Dan, who thinks they're going to join in the hellscape
within the next 3 years.
next 3 years.
Out there,
okay.
man.
All right, how about let's 2 years.
Do-
That's fast in gaming terms.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll.
Nintendo has not rolled out a service in 2 years.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime in the next couple of years.
The prophet has laid down the decree.
I want it to happen.
Okay.
I mean, Nintendo knows this. I mean, the thing is here, Nintendo knows the formula for making money. That is not something that they've been sitting around trying to figure out. They make their brand of family fun,
they do.
Entertainment that appeals to the masses at a ridiculous scale.
They do, and they also make monetized Dr. Mario on mobile.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
So
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. All right. But I feel like at some degree they passed the buck on that. Like, they're like, yeah, you can go do that, and we'll see what the results are.
well, that's pretty much what it is, and I
Yeah.
think that's the same thing that's going to happen here. It's like, oh yeah, why not? Let people get another Yahoo for nailing that coin box.
And then the next part of his question
that'd be
was
a great achievement noise.
Collect one. They write themselves.
In Metroid Prime 4.
We laugh now, but
I
that
want
is
it
where it's
so
going.
much.
Yeah.
You could customize the noises. Oh, this is a hellscape. You're right.
Hellscape or Wonderland.
They are once together the same in this kind of mesh.
The second part of his question, like most difficult trophy achievement, I can't remember one that I did that was super hard. I'm sure I did one sometime. Maybe.
I'll be honest. Like there was a time right in the beginning where I was like, I'm intrigued by this whole achievement thing, and I dropped off real quick. I found it turned me off. That aspect of gaming, because I felt like it was taking me away from just enjoying the games as holistic, full experiences. And so it actually kind of bothers me now when I'm in the middle of like an interesting cutscene and all of a sudden, boop boop. You know, when you get some stupid joke.
Yeah, but I think it's good when I like it when you can turn it off, which is very helpful. I do hate it when they tie it in so that if I turn those off, I also turn off the notices that like my friend wants to play games with me. That's one of those things that like that annoys me because or if I have to leave it on because I'm like, oh, we're going to play later. I need to make sure that I can be reached. Now, I get it. We all have mobile phones and Discord and everything like that to be able to communicate. But it's nice to be able to get a little notice in game to say that your friends have popped on or that they want to play. That said, I'm a play the game you want to play, the way you want to play it, right? Being that if you want, I think there's so many people who love achievements that's turned playing games into a meta game for them. That's awesome, right? I think that's cool. It's kind of like the thing with Warcraft earlier. Like, can we make it so the old people can play it the way they want to play it, and the new people can play it the new way? Great. And I kind of look at achievements the same way. I don't look at it as a negative thing, but I'm not into it. I'm with you. I'm just not into it. You into it, Leo? You're not into it.
There was a time where I was into it. It's kind of the thing where sounds like there's new rewards now, but Gamerscore for the first few years it was around, it was like everybody was racing, and now that we're so far from it, it's like everybody's number can mean so many different things, and so many games have such a vastly different like hour input requirement or difficulty level to even 100% it. It's like it's just becoming more and more meaningless over the years, and I haven't cared about it in a while. But that achievement noise, still very satisfying to hear.
And the rare achievements now, oh baby. I love it. Just
wait. Excuse me. There's a different noise associated with a rare achievement.
If less than 10% of people have gotten an achievement, a diamond comes up and it's a fancier noise.
And you earn the right to buy a diamond from Microsoft for $2,000.
Also, to be clear, the past 2 weeks on this podcast, I've considered it a personal attack because I still enjoy achievements. So,
all right.
You're supposed to enjoy. I am one voice in a sea of extremely intelligent gaming voices here. So
I did laugh. One of the achievement emails that we're not going to get to did bring up the fact that there were like people who like played in Borderlands 3. The first trophy you get is at level 2, when all you have to do is do the tutorial. When you go through a linear path, and it only had 95% completion. And his question is, who are the 5% of the people that bought this game?
Well,
and
it's not even that.
Get to level 2.
It's not even
like,
people who bought it and didn't. It's people who turned the game on.
Yeah,
that's what's wild.
Yeah.
Because I can actually believe
like they
there's
bought
a
it,
lot
just
of
never
people
played it.
buy it and they're like, I'll play that in a couple months. But the idea that I bought it, I downloaded the patch, I hit start. at the menu screen.
You see Claptrap, and that's it.
And you have you see Claptrap, and you have a heart attack from excitement.
You probably think you're being attacked. It's like, hey! And it's like, oh, I'm done with this.
5% of people did that, and I want to talk to those people. I really do. I want to be like, what's going on with you?
Wait, by the way, to be clear, that first gun you get in Borderlands 3 is real bad. It's real bad. It's real bad.
It shoots rockets.
It's not a good gun. They do. The other one that was funny, and by the way, this is Anthony from SoCal, since we did go back and kind of cover his letter a little bit, was that he did bring up that for Outer Worlds, that 99.4% made a character. Basically, there's a 0.6% that made a character and then never played the game. That they went in, they made their character, and they're
that's
like,
enough.
That's enough.
I'm done.
I made a character.
Yeah.
Good. Bye. Which is another one that
That's
like
pretty
you took
cool.
the time.
Yes.
Though to be clear, I have had games where I've spent like an hour creating a character and been like, I ran out of time and walked away thinking I would go back.
And then you never did.
And then I never did. Yeah.
I think that's
so
what's happening there.
I think that's what's happening there. But it is a funny thing to bring up.
To answer the question real quick, though, the most proud achievement I have is I collected all the orbs in the first Crackdown, or all the agility
That's
orbs.
crazy.
So
That's your legacy to pass on.
That's my legacy. My grandchildren will have that achievement.
I see it now. You're like 80 years old, passing the credentials to your Microsoft account,
redeeming
onto
a
your
gravestone off of Microsoft
Oh my
rewards.
God! Do not give them that idea. They're gonna do that.
Yeah.
They're gonna do that.
My tombstone
And
will be
there'll
branded
be a
with the
tax
X on
to
it.
move it on to your kids.
They're
like,
gonna do that.
we have to charge you thousands of dollars to move it on.
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
The
well.
future is fun.
Hellscape.
Yeah.
So this question. Hello, GI crew. Greetings from Kansas City. My question this week is a bit different. After 50 years, my beloved Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl this past Sunday.
Yeah,
By the
don't
way,
rub it in.
Congratulations to this game. I like it when teams that don't win all that often win.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
it wasn't the Patriots. I'm in that group. Way to
Wasn't
go,
the
Chiefs.
Vikings
They gotta-
either, though.
you
You know what? I want the Vikings to win, but, good on them. I like it when people they win and it makes their fans happy. That's fun for me.
I think we can all agree with that.
Congrats to you. As a diehard fan, the moment was incredibly surreal for me. I couldn't be happier. I'm 30 years old, so I truly waited my whole life to experience this. And I'll tell you, there are people here in Minnesota land that have died waiting for that kind of
they
stuff.
still will.
That's one thing. But sports, and specifically NFL and the Chiefs, is maybe the one passion I have that rivals my love for gaming. As you are all gamers, both personally and professionally at GI, I'm curious, what passions do you have that rival your love of games? Like his love of the Chiefs. So, what's your passions, boys? That's keep up the great work from Jared Barzee. Thank you very much, and I assume from Kansas City.
That rival my love of games, probably nothing.
Nothing.
But there are other interests, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Jackets.
Jackets. Yeah,
That's
fashion.
really up there.
Fashion, yeah. Movies and music, obviously, but everybody does those. But
Yeah.
I also am into paranormal investigation and urban exploration.
Oh,
Not a lot of people know that.
I wish
not
it
know
had been
this.
herbal exploration.
No, not urban.
Yo, man, I'm totally into herbal exploration.
Well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So we don't talk about that
Okay, so
on the
hold
podcast.
on, tell me.
It's not legal
let's
yet
circle
everywhere.
back to your urban exploration.
Yeah.
Tell me what you do with urban
So that kind of
exploration.
came out of the paranormal investigation kind of thing, and that's sort of like exploring old and decrepit buildings that have been, shut down, like
you break into
asylums and
condemned
hospitals.
buildings?
Now I can't talk about that. I say I'm interested in that topic. But yes, that is what urban exploration is often involves. Yes.
Yeah, nice. There was an
That's
abandoned
cool.
cat food factory that me and my friends used to go.
Typically,
sneak
we
around
like
in.
again. It ties into the paranormal thing. We like to go to like haunted locations and stuff like that. More of interest, like asylums and hospitals and stuff like that.
Do you have a spot you've hit in the,
I-
in the cities?
I
Or
certainly
can you
would-
not
Can't say it.
I'm
He can't
just
say it.
saying
He
that
literally can't say
This
it.
is a topic that I'm interested in, but that I can't elaborate on. But-
We're gonna talk off air.
I can't confirm or deny.
and it goes with the nature of it, unfortunately. So.
Why did you have to go first? None of ours are gonna hit that level of intrigue.
Well,
Yeah.
I just said it wasn't even nearly on the same par as gaming.
Okay.
But, but it's like
personally-
a side activity.
It's a
I'm
casual
really
fling.
interested in being a serial killer. I can't expand on that, but
I can't talk about
that's the-
specifics here.
Where's the emergency button? Where's the emergency button?
With those things explicitly, you can't because of it is often a building that may, there's no access allowed at this time because it's been shut down and you can't go in there.
Yeah, sure.
can't go in there.
Right.
I will admit, I've fallen down that hole every once in a while on the internet, been like, they blew up that building. What was in that building? And they'll be like, so someone will have a blog. They'll be like, I broke in there and it's a moon base in there. And,
And
you're
now-
like, no way.
Now, granted, there's very good reasons for that.
Yeah.
They don't want people in there. A lot of times there's like very dangerous issues that could occur. Like you
Yeah.
could fall down a sinkhole or something. Like it's
They're
condemned for a
dilapidated.
reason.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Yes. So those rules are good and they're for a good reason.
But you're ready to risk your life for that thrill.
He's not saying that he is, but he's not saying that he's not.
Yeah.
Some people just find the concept very intriguing to go in there, and especially my love of the strange and the paranormal also ties into that. It's like
Yeah.
So locations are often picked on the basis of their hauntedness on top of their interest of wow, this building's really cool. Let's go check it out.
It's a little on the spot here, but do you have like a paranormal documentary that's like your favorite one that like we should be know?
Here's the problem. Over the last, I've been into this for
They
like-
always look like kooks, right?
They do. And
Yeah,
I've been
okay.
into this for like the last 15 years, like 20 years maybe. And like all of the modern stuff is really focused on ghost experiences. Watch
Yeah.
as they go in there and call out the ghosts. It's like that's just no. I mean, I get it that those ghost shows are super popular, but
Yeah.
like they don't really reflect upon it in general.
Okay.
It's I'm not going to say we use any like scientific rubric, but no, I have never encountered anything legit.
What about
paranormal.
Sasquatch? Is Sasquatch real?
I don't think so.
I hear
Okay.
He's in the box
look
right
behind
now.
you.
I'm about to ask you a really important question.
God, here we go.
You ready?
I put it out here.
Do you have a squad?
There
you have
is,
a
there
squad?
is, yes.
You have
there
like
is
a
gr-
team.
There are multiple groups. There's a groups across the country that are into this kind of thing. That
So you
They
like
get together
you
and
like
do this.
Do you have
like
a car, like a ghost busting?
no,
type
there's
car?
no
Is
like
there
car.
clubhouse?
There's no cards. There's
Come
no
on,
office.
there's a clubhouse
all right?
though, right? Where do you meet?
There's no clubhouse. There's no clubhouse. At least my group does not have a clubhouse. There are other groups
That's cool.
that do.
By the way, before we mock you too much, that's cool. That's
I think
cool.
that
I'm
sounds
glad
fun.
that's cool. You have
It's
a
all
hobby.
pretend. He doesn't do any of it. It's not that cool. He's got a theoretical group and he doesn't go in abandoned buildings. I don't know what's so cool about this.
Right. I agree, Leo. I agree.
Leo.
I'm really into like YouTube culture.
Yeah?
I'm into videos talking about what's popular on YouTube right now without directly giving them views, but also sometimes I'll give them views and just hate watch the weird stuff that becomes insanely popular on YouTube.
I can never forget that conversation that I felt was so enlightening. I walked up, Leo was watching a documentary about a show. What was it? And it was like a 4-hour thing on Buffy the Vampire. What was it? No, you were
It
watching
was 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. Yeah,
3
50 Shades of Grey.
hour-and-a-half long breakdowns of
And I
each
was
movie.
like, so you're a fan of the show? No.
Never
Have you
seen
watched
it.
it? No. Why are you watching a 3.5 hour documentary about it? He's like, it's just what I like. And I was like,
I respect
all right,
that.
All right.
The longer the video is on YouTube, the more you expect that they have something to say.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, that's the thing. So YouTube, the world of YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of like Team 10 stuff. There's a student named J Station who's like, I bought a growth potion on the dark web at 3 a.m. or whatever, and then the thumbnail's like this giant Lego man
Yeah.
stomping around the house.
I'm into
Stuff
this.
like that is very interesting to me and my friends.
Didn't he? J Station was like, he gets in controversy quite a bit on the
Yeah,
YouTube
his girlfriend
thing, right?
died, and then he like talked to her via Ouija board for a clickbait headline.
Yeah.
It's like talking to my
that's
girlfriend's
creepy.
ghost. It's crazy out
That is
there,
crazy.
man.
That is crazy. That is
Yeah.
that's insane, actually. And some could say maybe even in poor taste.
Certainly.
Some might say
Some
that.
some might
Maybe
say
at
that.
this table.
Some might say that. Some might say that.
Hypothetically.
Alex, how about you?
I mean, I feel vanilla now. Frankly, I was going to talk about my love for the Timberwolves.
Fishing.
Well, do it.
That's fine.
That's completely cool.
Yeah, I would say passions that equal gaming are, especially more recently, travel and food, restaurants and cooking. I'm starting to get more into. It's really, for me, food is very much a labor of love, and I really enjoy seeing what people do with it and like how they purvey that. I know like in U.S. culture, it's easy for fast food, but I really like, especially going around Minneapolis, I think there's a lot of amazing spots.
It's a good food city.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's underrated, and I think
is.
we're starting to finally garner some attention for that. I think Michelin star people
can-
are starting to come here.
You can eat really good food in Minneapolis without spending a lot of money.
Yeah,
You
that's
can.
really
yeah.
nice.
You can spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can.
Yes, you can.
But you
like,
can also not spend a lot of money
Yeah.
and get some really great
Yeah,
food.
I think the world has changed a lot in the last even 15 years. There's a lot of great food in a lot of great cities. You know what I
Yes.
mean, I think
Oh,
there
definitely.
used to be like bad food cities, and I feel it's less the case now. I feel like there's it's pretty good across the board.
For sure. And travel for me is huge. I traveled as a kid. We went to Florida as a family and stuff like that. But then I studied abroad in college, and it kind of took a hobby to an addiction. And like, if I'm not going to 3 or 4 places in a year, I feel like I'm missing out. So my last big trip was 2 years ago now. We went to Iceland, Paris, and Amsterdam, which are some of the cold take here.
Never
but
heard of 'em.
Yeah, some of the coolest places I've ever been.
But that's not as cool as gaming.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
No.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you for
Nothing is.
clarifying, Leo, for us all.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and I love sports too. Like, but I've actually found myself falling out of it a little bit more.
That's because the Timberwolves are bad.
yeah, the Timberwolves are abysmal, and
Yeah.
it's hard to get your hopes up every time. Where gaming doesn't hurt me quite as bad
Yeah.
as sports do, but.
Less abusive.
But my dad and I have a very strong bond built over like the Wild and the Vikings for better and worse. So I would say those, and movies and music obviously are
Yeah, I
huge.
think
but,
those. Yeah.
So everything.
so everything. I'm passionate about everything.
Right on.
That's good. And Miller, I mean, can I almost feel like I can answer this for you.
You've known me for a long time.
I've
now,
known you
Andy.
for a long time. I've known you
think-
for a long time.
There's a number of things, but yeah, let's hear your guesses about where I'd go first.
I mean, I feel like your D&D passion is like next level. I mean, that's where I go first.
That's accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
I started playing D&D when I was like 5 years old, like 5 or 6 years old. I had an older brother who played, right, and like
I would love to hear like I speak like a toddler D&D modules.
I mean,
by
I was
Miller.
I got serious about it when I was really little, and so it's like really, really ingrained in my
who you are.
in like who I am and my personality, as well as a lot of like my friendships really grew out of
Yeah.
like my close friendships grew out of like sitting around a D&D table or some sort of role-playing game table. And so there's a degree to which, I mean, like I've spent months of my life like writing campaign settings, and I do use the plural there,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Like I've done that. And I'll sit around and talk with people at length for hours at a stretch about like the theory behind things that are, very specific to people who play D&D, or even specific to people who DM in D&D, right? Like there's this whole kind of conversation that and a discipline there that's different from anything else. It's about a combination of like narrative and acting and psychology of the people around the table, and that's just really interesting to me.
And you love the tales.
Yeah.
I mean, you love storytelling.
I love storytelling, world building.
Yeah.
And that, that in some ways is actually like the uniting feature of a lot of the things I love is like world building in all types of fiction, whether we're talking about like games or movies or TV shows or role-playing games or whatever. I like mythology and understanding the themes behind the stories that we tell to each other is something that's I'm deeply passionate about.
I do love. Hey, outside of video games, what do you like? Just games. Just games without the video on.
But I mean,
it.
that's
next up.
That's
That's
awesome.
next
I mean,
up,
it really speaks to like I think everyone here is like gaming is this huge central, like just a massive force in all of our lives.
Yeah. And I think there's things that are there are people who are just like I'm a video game guy, or even I'm only a Call of Duty guy or whatever. And then there's the broader world of interactive experiences and storytelling and stuff like that is much broader than just video games.
As someone who grew up the shooter Halo guy, I recently have been getting into D&D, and it has created a buzz in which I haven't felt about playing a game in such a long time. So I was so excited to come tell Miller about like our experiences and stuff with it. If you haven't played D&D, give it a shot because it is so much fun.
When I played it for the first time and realized I can just do literally anything, I could be like, I'm going to win this clerk over by singing them a song, and then the DM's like, okay, that'll be a performance check, and we'll have advantage.
Oh, totally. Like that's the joy for people who are
running the games.
Who are running the games and who've played it for a long time and who are introducing it to new people, is that there is something that happens at the game table that is a combination of both that freedom and the communal spirit that creates the story. The idea that I've got friends who I share my love of Star Wars with, but I also have a very select group of 4 other people who I have a love of a particular story that nobody else knows.
Yeah.
And that's like our story that we told together, we created together, and that creates a particular kind of bond of laughter and enthusiasm that is unique.
And inside jokes at a dinner table that annoy the other 3 people.
Everybody else is like, these guys are such nerds. And you pretty quickly get to a point where you're just like, I don't care that you think I'm a nerd. Like this is it's so fun. Yeah. So there's that. I also maybe for something that's a little off the beaten path that maybe folks don't know, I was and am a big music guy. Yeah. Yeah, I studied music in college and.
Do you play anything?
I play piano and guitar, and I majored in voice, so I did a lot of like classical singing.
You got pipes on you.
Yeah, and so there did a lot of like music composition, and all that stuff's pretty important to me. Yeah,
I've learned about everyone more than I think I have in my last couple months here today.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
The podcast is where it really comes out.
Brings everyone together. I love it.
We have time to sit back and talk.
That's right.
Andy, what about you?
For me, games have been such a big part of my life, but I think the thing that changed my life as I got older was cycling. I mean, cycling for me, one, I kind of needed to do it. It was like a family emergency kind of thing that kind of pushed me in this direction, and I was like someone who's like, oh, sitting around playing video games is going to kill me? Then let me die. You know what I mean? I was just ready to I was just ready to go down, right?
Hell yeah.
Gonna go down with a controller in my hand.
Yeah, they're like, your butt's going to form under that chair. Yeah, I'm going to have chair butt, kick ass. I was like so down, but going out and doing something like this changed my life, changed my, my health. And the thing for me, though, that I'd like to point out is that I brought this up recently on Twitter, was that like the thing that happened too is that I got into cycling right as Strava happened, which Strava was this thing that turned achievements, which I know we called it a hellscape earlier, but for me,
One person did.
Only I did.
for me, Strava changed my life because it turned everything in real world where I would go cycle. It set up where I got goals for it, right? Like that people were doing things and I could compare, like if I rode down this path, I could compare how fast I rode down that path versus how fast someone else rode down the path.
That's cool.
And so it gamified for me riding a cycle, right? And I know people like, especially in the cycling space, like this is one of the like cycling arguments. Like I watch their blogs and YouTube stuff on like cycling. You know, they're like, we rely too much on data. We don't, live our lives free of this data, that keeps us down. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, maybe, but for me, it's just it's fun. I look at it like it's an MMO. To some degree. And that was one of the things I said early on. Was like, if I spend 10 hours making my paladin better, why can't I spend 2 hours making myself better? And essentially, Strava gave me a character sheet that was like, here's how much experience I got, here's the achievements I got, here's where I went, here's how I did things, and it gamified it for me, and it changed my life. And then now, and in recent time, this thing called Zwift happened, where it's literally an MMO where I ride virtually with other people in a space, and we race. Like I did a race yesterday, like in virtual reality. I played on a laptop and I hooked my bike up to it. And I have a bike trainer that I connect to it. And so I'm biking, but I'm also kind of playing games. And when I'm done, I look at the data and how I placed and what I did well and what I did poorly. And people are nice in there. They give you a thumbs up. And like, it's really weird how nice they are. Like they find me on other apps and they go like, nice job. And it's oddly satisfying and fun for me and changed my life. So cycling is my other passion, like huge.
That's
huge
really cool.
for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's the Andy story.
This is such a warm section here.
Yeah. No, it was a great question. No, thank you, Jared. I mean, really fun.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to go outside a game sometimes and also see how. By the way, we can't escape it. It is also such a big part of us, no matter what. So. Next question. Mick from Maine here, and I have a question. Are there any video game songs you ever find yourself humming? I know for myself, I find myself humming Corridors of Time from Chrono Trigger and Click Clock Wood from Banjo-Kazooie. Keep up the great work. So, I mean, every once in a while I'm walking around, I just go, dun, 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 dun. Like, I do it in like the kitchen when I'm like looking for things. I don't know why or where it comes from, but it happens to me all the time. That's my one very constant repeater. But I, too, love music. I was a musician for a long time in bands, all part of it. I love music, and whenever I'm playing anything or interacting with entertainment, I literally just parrot all the time whatever music is in whatever game. I just walk away and kind of hum it all the time. So that's me. But we're interested in your answer. I just wanted to answer quick because I thought the music segue was good there. But.
Yeah, mine's pretty close to yours. Mine's Zelda.
Yep.
Yeah.
I whistle Zelda all the time. Just like
let's hear it. Okay, let's wait. You're a performer.
Yeah. But like, here's the weird thing. I think in recent years I've been whistling Wind Waker.
I can't believe you know that.
Yeah, no, I do. I think that, and I don't even like Wind Waker that much. Like, like I like there's something about the like when you're out in the ocean, they changed the theme a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's like a slightly different melody, and that's the one that really clicks for me. So
I actually thought you were going to mention the Halo, the whatever monks kind of thing.
I think that's an awesome musical theme. But it's not super hummable. It's not like jaunty.
Yeah, it's not
right?
jaunty. No, it is not. Yeah. Dan?
I don't really find myself humming or whistling ever, but like Undertale tracks go through my head sometimes when I'm
Do they?
not thinking about anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Great soundtrack.
Yeah. Leo?
Streets of Rogue lately.
Yeah.
Great music. I recommend 3-2.
Yeah, I know for a while on Twitter you were going to make a post about Streets of Rogue until everyone played it. Did you reach your goal?
Yes.
Everyone.
Okay.
Everyone in the world has now played that game, thanks to Leo.
Thank you.
I still have more clips I could post, but I feel like I was...
You were annoying people?
Yeah.
It was cracking me up. I was like, I wonder how long he keeps it up.
Yeah. I was hoping for
more.
longer.
I can do some more.
Excellent. How about you, Alex?
I'll especially on like hikes and stuff, I'll find myself Zelda-ing in my head.
Yeah.
Recently though, like if I need like a boost, Celeste will
Yeah.
come up. I'll find myself humming Celeste and kind of getting in the mindset, especially for steps and resurrections. Celeste just is amazing music in
For sure.
general. But yeah, nothing crazy.
I also have the same thing too. I have a little bit of a sound, like the video games, like putting a soundtrack to my life. Like every once in a while when I'm walking around in a city and I see a thing that I go like, that's an interesting skate. Like I go like, I bet people skate that, right? Or I see people skating. I'm the ambassador of Kick Your Asseter. Comes up from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. Like, like,
a
all,
deep-
like it just always
cut.
like if I'm just walking around a city and I see a thing, I'm like, look at that and it just
Right?
the Tony
Yeah.
Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack just appears out of nowhere, and there it is. So, but yeah. So any other music you guys love?
I used to listen to, like, before football games to get hyped, I listened to the Mass Effect 2 launch trailer song from, I'll have to think of who it's by, but yeah. It's super, that's my favorite video game trailer of all time. is
You
the
don't
Mass
have
Effect
the
2.
bum bum ba-dum 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 bum ba-dum ba-dum
Like
ba-dum
every sports
ba-dum.
player
Yeah,
ever.
exactly.
Yep. Yep, that's me.
Okay, so this one, next question is interesting. Hello, podcast posse. Connor from Norfolk, Virginia here. I love the show and the people on it. Oh,
It's nice.
it's very
We need
nice.
more emails like that.
Yeah. That's all he said. That's it. There's nothing else.
That's all right.
Good.
Email of the week. All right, we'll see you later. See you later, everybody.
Do you prefer urban or rural settings in your video games? Does it change depending on the genre? I would rather explore lush, natural environments than cities. Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Horizon Zero Dawn are recent examples of beautiful open worlds that blow me away. They all have such a great expressions of the natural world. In comparison, environments like New York and Spider-Man, Gotham City and Batman, and Los Santos and Grand Theft Auto 5 feel less interesting despite being well designed. However, this changes when it comes to multiplayer shooters. I almost always prefer urban environments in games like Overwatch and the Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I feel like urban environments allow me to learn maps more effectively and focus on the competition. So what are your thoughts on rural versus urban environments in games? Thank you for your consideration and keep up the good work.
Red Dead's an interesting one because as beautiful as the nature is, I would still say my favorite place to explore is Saint Denis, the giant city in that game. Like
Yeah.
a well-designed urban area like that, going through the back alleys and like climbing stuff and exploring that way, that's always something I prefer way more.
Yeah, I think there's something to what he says here, like when he points to like in shooters that like when there's that grid, that it kind of sets it up as something that you can digest in parts. Do you know what I mean? Where it's really hard to be like forest. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just a lot. You know what I mean? Like that there's a different way of like computing them, but I don't think I pick one or the other. It all depends on the game.
I don't think I'd pick one or the other, but I think I probably have a like our questioner here. I have a general preference,
Connor.
towards the wilderness environments. I'm formulating a theory here.
Okay.
I wonder, and let's maybe with our panel we can see if this is true. I wonder if one's preference on this question might also equate to one's preference for vacationing.
That is extremely bizarre.
Oh, you mean like going to a city or going out
Yes.
like hiking?
Like when my wife and I vacation, we almost all. I mean, we'll go into cities obviously and enjoy stuff in cities, but there's a
You wanna
great
go to the woods.
preference
You wanna
going
go to,
out
like, a-
and like
yeah.
going hiking, go in the woods, see beautiful natural environments.
You've
And
done
I'm-
a good job of going and visiting the national parks.
I have. I've gone to a lot of national parks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You think that's
That's
true?
an interesting point. I can totally
It
see that.
syncs up for me.
Does it?
So I'm wondering if the rest of the table is the same.
What are you?
Yeah, I think as games as a form of escapism, I think I definitely seek out the same things.
We're hitting on something here. I think.
Yeah.
I definitely, when I went to, and this is, God, I can't even remember how long ago now, 6 or 7 years ago, when I went to Yellowstone, that place blew my mind. And this is going to be one of those weird things. The reason I loved it, I was like, this is the craziest video game environment ever. Because
it has everything.
Because it had everything.
Yeah, no,
it really
it's
did.
wild.
I was like, there's a lava pit, and then there's like this crazy like Grand Canyon here in the middle of nowhere. What's with this mountain? And there's coyotes here. I mean, like it was the one place on Earth that I went that felt like a video game space where
Sure.
things were so mashed together and close together relatively. I mean, that's obviously Yellowstone's big, but it kind of blew my mind how all those things were so close and related, and it was all there. Like
Different
everything
biomes.
was there. And so, yeah, it totally was. I was like, and at the time too, I was like, if I could, and I was making a video game, I would license Yellowstone and make it like
Just Yellowstone.
I
Got
would
it.
recreate Yellowstone and then figure out what game I did in it. But my game world would be Yellowstone.
It's Monster Hunter. Yellowstone.
yeah,
It makes so much sense. All the
There you go.
biomes are right there.
I just that's what I would do. But so I kind of agree with that. But I mean, like I love Gotham City when I'm in it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It really does.
Yeah.
It's really
does
hard to
depend.
pick one or the other. But more importantly, it's just like when they're done well, it makes such a difference in a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like when that world is right, be it Bioshock underwater or whatever.
Yeah.
That world, that feeling it gives is so important.
I will say that I think one of the hardest things to do is an environment that is bleak that also makes me want to remain in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of video games in the last decade have really struggled with, which is that like there's a desire to explore like these, like ruined spaces as a theme, as a very powerful one that I think resonates for a lot of people. And so we have lots of post-apocalyptic games and stories about like going through places that are like ancient ruined cities. Like there's something very appealing about that. But at the same time, when everything is dark and bleak and down, it's hard with modern games where you're going to spend like 30 to 60 hours running around in them to have them be, not just get you down yourself.
It's like
For sure.
I agree. This is a great Minnesota thing, which I'm experiencing right now. When the sun doesn't come up for like 7 days,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It starts to wear on you. And
Yep.
sometimes when you're in a game world, it starts to wear on you when it is that bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I think that's one of the things that, The Last of Us and games like that always have a little bit of challenge with. They want them to be these oppressive places, but they want you to have fun there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a really hard thing to do and a challenge, right?
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate something like Witcher so much, because almost all those quest lines are dark and deal with heavier themes, but that world is so beautiful and something that you want to experience and live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Maybe not live in, but
I was going to say, I don't want to live there.
yeah.
Live there without any of those terrible
Yeah,
people
exactly. Yeah.
there. Yeah.
No, I think that's interesting. Leo, you got anything to say about that?
We can all agree that the best is a city that's post-apocalyptic and overgrown, so there's lots of
It's
nature
really-
in the
it's
city.
really
There you
It's,
go.
it's the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get it all. You get it all. You get it all. The next question is actually kind of just a follow up to last week, and because it made me laugh. So we got a letter last week from a guy whose name we screwed up, but it's Lockie. And
it is a male, right?
you know what? I don't think he
Okay.
ever really addresses that
Okay.
in here.
We were almost out of the weeds there.
I know. I'm
Lockie
sorry. I
is a
called him-
boy's name.
I called him. I said he in his pronoun, so I want to make sure if it's not. I want
But
to make sure. It's
I
right.
assume so. But
Okay.
because he said it's a shorter version of the name Lockian or Lockland. But he said Americans struggle with this anyway, so haha. He laughed.
Yeah.
He's Australian. But this is the point of this. And
okay.
the reason we got hung up was that he brought up it's called something the dog's breakfast.
I remember.
Which threw us off. And we were like, the dog's breakfast. And I actually looked it up later. I did the whole well, let's see what Google has to say. And it was like, it totally was. It's a dog's breakfast. Like, it's just, the thing's bad. It's a dog's breakfast. Which we all laughed at, and we were kind of confused.
Is a dog not entitled to a
To
decent
good
meal?
breakfast. Yeah.
Wow.
But he
Why
sent
are
a letter.
bees' knees better than a dog's breakfast?
I have no
hard to
idea.
know.
But I just couldn't avoid this one. So
right.
I was very touched when you chose to read my letter, my question, and discuss it in such detail. I was on a 9-hour bus from Siem Reap, Cambodia to Bangkok, Thailand. When I was listening to the latest show, it was definitely the highlight of my day. So you're welcome.
nice.
Lockley,
Wow.
that's
That's saying something
Lockie.
on
Yeah.
this beautiful
God, I'm-
drive that you're there, that he's on.
Yeah.
I know.
That we were the highlight.
Oh, you missed it, Miller. He listens to us under the stars in like the mountains while he's hiking.
That's awesome.
It's impressive.
I know, and he's doing cool stuff. Like, he's doing cool
Well,
stuff.
now
Yeah.
I'm gonna imagine where he's at as he listens to this.
I know. Well, maybe we'll find out next week. It's like our recurring segment. Just wanted to clarify that I'm Australian. I'm so happy my expression caused so much confusion, which it did. We were definitely there. I bust out slang like that when I'm playing online with randoms, and I am often met with similar reactions. My favorite saying is to use "We're not playing for sheep stations."
Nice.
Just to clarify, so you understood me the first
Boom.
time.
That
We're
is
not
wild.
playing for sheep stations.
I don't believe that's real.
Which means don't take things too serious if someone is getting angry at a game.
I mean, I'm not betting my sheep stations. I don't know about
what
you
is the
guys, but-
context?
So I guess that's saying that like sheep stations
Well,
are
it's what
very
they call-
important.
It's what they call PlayStation over there.
Yeah.
The sheep station 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so like it's got to be like roots in like shepherding culture, right?
Yeah, it's got to be.
I can't
stations.
begin to explain. I didn't Google ahead of time because I think it's
No,
funnier
I
if we
think it's
don't.
funny
It's
if we
better,
don't
yeah.
know. Like,
Or saying someone is a few sangas short of a picnic,
What,
which means they're not all there.
Burn.
what is a sanga?
That's sandwiches. He puts that in parentheses to help us out.
Like-
He's really trying to help us out
The-
here. So
the Sanga.
Okay, no, wait.
a few sangas short of a picnic.
All right, that makes
Okay.
sense.
That's close to. That's close to. That's kind of
yeah,
close.
yeah,
You
I
know,
can
like
get that.
you
You wouldn't
know.
want to have a picnic and forget the sandwiches.
Or the Sangas.
The Sangas are the French. Do they have one in France?
Yeah, I don't know. But basically, what he'd come to us for was to help him pick whether he should get an Xbox One specifically or PS4. That's why this went all over the map.
Get a
right?
PS4 and let's talk more about sheep stations.
Yeah. So he does go on to say, like, you know, he's interested in exclusives, yada, 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 game questions. We don't care. You'll figure that out on your own. We discussed it last week. You can listen back. What
did.
does matter is I could not stop laughing at your pronunciation of my name. I said pronunciation wrong there. It is Lackey, pronounced Locky, is a shorter version of Lackland. Americans usually struggle with it, haha. And I have screwed it up like
Lachlan.
17 times.
Lachlan? Yeah, Lachlan.
Like McLaughlin?
I guess.
Do you think?
I don't know. I'm
How's
not
it
familiar
spelled?
with it.
The Lachlan
it's
clan.
Lachlan.
Yeah, that
Did you
sounds
just
like
take
Lachlan.
this Australian to
Lachlan.
Scotland?
I
Is that
did.
what you just did?
I did.
But pronounced Locky.
Right.
All right.
Locky.
And then
but
the full
is,
name.
But that is Lachie, which looks like I do the A.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense for sure. But I think if it is
Stations.
Locky, then
We're
it's
not
probably
playing for those.
Lachlan.
Yeah, it's
Not
the
playing
short. That's where it throws me off.
Right. It's tricky.
It's tricky.
I am curious. Does he say if we helped him make his decision on the Xbox front?
No, I think he's saying we were worthless.
Oh,
Right.
perfect.
No,
Yeah,
he just hasn't digested that part. He's going to get to that. That's next week's email.
No, he's saying we were the dog's breakfast.
It is the podcast pull out from last week too.
So I've included some Aussie slang that could get you start including in the show
Yes.
to appeal to the more international audience. So he's helped us out here. So we have
you.
some things that I'm going to mispronounce.
Perfect.
Huru?
Uh-huh.
What do you think that means?
Huru?
Huru.
Yeah.
Is it celebration? Like,
A lot of original
like
programming.
hurrah.
H-O-O-R-O-O. Huru.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Like
my
hooray?
vote is like it's like hooray.
Yeah.
My bet is that Scooby Doo is the spokesperson for Hulu over there.
Huru.
That's really good, Leo.
I'm going to say
That
it's
was a good
more of like hoopla.
That's goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's goodbye.
We were not close.
Huru and goodbye. They're the same.
That's right.
Thongs.
Well,
I
This is
think
a
we
kid's
don't-
show.
does he put him on his feet?
Yes, that's what you call flip-flops.
What do they call thongs?
I think I've heard that before. I
Sure.
think that's one I've heard before.
Yeah.
Esky. Esky.
Can
E-S-K-Y.
you use it in a
Esky.
sentence, please?
Yeah, I can give you a sentence that maybe goes like did anybody put the esky in the car?
Is that a baby?
Well, if you didn't
Child
put the
seat.
baby in the car, that's a problem.
I'll do a sentence that maybe gets way more like could you grab me a Foster's out of the esky, please?
Fridge.
The cooler.
It's a cooler. Yeah, it's what you
Cooler.
call it. And I did Foster's Australian for beer, which I know
I-
annoys
okay, so it's
Australians
like-
when I do that.
Is it
So that
like-
was intentional,
like
by the way.
Esky is a reference to like Eskimo, like culture.
I don't know.
Is that the?
Oh, yeah, that's probably...
like-
We're not here to explain it.
cold.
We're just here to enjoy the things that we can screw up.
Yeah. Okay.
Servo. S-E-R-V-O. Servo. On the way to work, I had to stop at the Servo.
Gas
This
station?
gas station.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, service station. This one, I think this is made up. I think he's toying with us now. I
Sure
think he's
is.
laughing.
We'll
He's
never
like,
know.
I made these idiots say these made up words on this
or
podcast.
he's making us say the worst.
And by the way-
Yeah, we're gonna have
Yeah.
to do a whole.
We're going to have to edit
We're
this.
very sorry
yeah,
for
to
all of
Australia.
the multiple cultural
Yeah.
misappropriations.
Like, that was so racist.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Bottle-o.
Not a bottle opener.
Bottle-o.
Bottle-o.
Like a bottle of Coke.
Bottle-o. Bottle-o. Bottle-o.
The mouth of the bottle
A beer?
specifically.
Alcohol store. Which he calls it an alcohol store.
A bottle-o. Okay.
Sure.
I feel like Australians
Why not?
have more fun with language.
Yeah, they
than-
do. This is okay. A chutney.
Sorry?
Like-
chutney. CHUNDY.
Oh, I thought you said like chutney.
Chundi?
Chundi.
Chundi.
Solomon Chundi.
Chundi.
Born
Born on a Monday.
Chundi. I drank too much last night. I woke up and had a chundi.
A hangover.
It's a bowel movement.
That's a vondi. A vomit.
Oh.
A vondi.
Vondi?
A vondi.
Yeah, these are all made up.
These are all made up. No. Okay. So
That was excellent.
there's Barbie, which we all knew. That one's
sure.
easy. Yeah.
We got that one.
But
Thank you, Crocodile Dundee.
Yes.
Yes. And so I just want to say thank you, Lockie.
And I hope you didn't make us say a bunch of bad things.
God, I really hope so.
Lachlan,
Yeah.
that was fun. We
Issue
appreciate it.
your
We hope you
apologies.
have fun on your continued journees. Figure out your Xbox, PlayStation thing.
and write us back.
And I apologize for murdering your name 17,000 times. It just does not compute.
It's all right.
Does not compute. But I will try to make sure I use I'm going to stop at the servo
I'm
sometime
looking
this week.
up sheep stations as soon as they get off air.
And
here.
there's one on here that I'm just not going to read because you might be right that I don't know. He might be playing with us on this one, so we're skipping that.
Good call.
I think
We're skipping.
we
that.
may have already run into one of those.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very possible.
Do you think so? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
Should I bleep them out just in case in the edit?
So all right. Hey, Andy and cohorts, do you have a favorite memory of a marathon gaming session you've had, whether alone or with friends
God.
on the couch or online?
Yeah.
The entirety of the Burning Crusade.
Yeah, I mean, he brings up
Wow.
Halo 3 midnight launch event, raced home, proceeded to play through the entire campaign on Legendary in one sitting. That sounds like a good memory. Alex Smith from Vinland, Ontario. So,
Yeah, I mean, the Burning Crusade was pretty accurate. I mean,
yeah, it is pretty accurate.
like we're going above the EverQuest 20-hour camps to get certain items. We're going to the point where like some of those raid days, it was like literally 8 hours preparing for the raid, 8 hours doing the raid.
Yeah, sure.
There was very little time for anything else people would call living.
I wonder. I wonder here if we're talking about. There's a difference for me between the ones that were the most stupid and insane, in terms of like, wow, that was a lot of time, versus the ones that were just great, like great memories of playing games for a long time.
his favorite memory.
So favorite, probably more like the ones that I actually feel good about.
Yeah.
that were fun.
I mean, there were ones that I risked my health
Yeah,
over, right? Like that has happened.
and that weren't necessarily fun. Some of them, right?
I mean, kind of.
So
Yeah.
the thing is, like,
You know what I mean? Like,
I've had times that like I don't got anything better to do. I don't have a job right now. Like, like summers between college years or whatever.
What is it? What is it? No,
Like, I'll tell you one. I had mono one time in college.
Oh man.
Yeah, so you were pre-sick. Perfect.
I was like in quarantine in my dorm room.
You played Metal Gear, didn't you? The whole time?
No, I played one of the Legacy of Kain games.
Really?
That was like what I
first
had. It
one?
was,
Barry Miller.
I think it was Soul Reaver.
okay.
And I remember it, but this speaks to like this is not a favorite memory of mine. Like it like haunts my dreams a little
no.
bit, right?
this is
Because I
supposed
was
to be a good one.
super, I was super sick.
I
And it
played
was
games
like,
when I was sick that I don't remember playing.
Yeah.
Right? They've
Yeah.
done so many like things. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's a particularly miserable game memory. Even though I think I think it's
marathoned
a
it.
pretty good game,
Yeah.
but like I didn't have anything else to do. Good ones.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think some of my fond memories of Destiny are times that like some of which you were in
Yeah.
on with me, where we were like, like there's this new content drop, it's expansion or whatever.
Let's grind it.
We're gonna grind it. We're gonna
Yeah.
get raid ready. We're gonna go do that, and that like we play it a lot.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I agree. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 5 for me, the launch. Me and my roommate were watching the countdown, and then when it went, it was like, let's play it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then I pretty effortlessly made it to like 26 or 27, and then I was thinking, I should go to bed. And then I'll just start playing again in the morning, but I
Right.
should probably go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very fond memories, though. That was like a really fun time. Ordered pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
I was gonna say the LAN party is such an event. My favorite is me and four of my friends who I still game with today would assemble in one of my buddy's basement because he had a big basement, and this was before we were drinking or anything like that. It was just innocent fun. But like we would have like party tables set up where each of us could like set up our station. and he always had like the best food. Like that's why we went over there because he had like chicken patties in the freezer and stuff like that.
Nice.
But there was one time because we'd always play like Halo or NBA or stuff like that. But then there was one time where my buddy had his PS3 and God of War 3, and I didn't have one. So I was like, and he was like, I've already played it, so you can play it. So I think that game's like 10 hours, and I sat there. I got there at like 8 p.m., started it, and played it all the way through in like one sitting. And my eyes were pretty much bleeding at that point. But I banged out because I didn't know when I was going to have another chance to play it. So
Those are, the original trilogy of God of War games were very marathonable.
oh yeah.
They had that quality to them that you would just kind of like just roll through them.
Yeah.
And it's always great when the difficulty gets at its greatest when you're at your most tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you just like,
yeah.
I got to keep going.
I'm totally not going to
Like,
screw
it
this
doesn't
up
even-
again. I
like you're
totally
in a
screwed
trance.
that
doesn't
same
even
thing
occur
up
to
again.
you
Yeah.
that like, maybe I'm a little too sleepy to do this. That is not a thought that comes into one's mind.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, screw this Minotaur. I am taking him down.
Like Gaia, I'm coming for you. Those nights also ruined Little Caesars for me. We just over abused that, and man, I think that ruined like some part of my body for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
They deliver now.
Yeah,
Little
I
Caesars.
saw that. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Give us a call, Little Caesars. Maybe you want to sponsor the show.
Yeah.
For me, I have a lot of them. Most of them revolve around MMOs. I used to take literally the week off when everything came off, and me and a friend, we would power level, and like we would set up menus so we had the food all set up to not move, and it would be, all right, we're gonna sleep for 4 hours. For 4 hours? Yeah, okay. Set your alarm, and we're gonna wake up at 6, and we're gonna do this, and like that was a lot of fun. And I did that way too many times. Like I have like 20 stories probably of that from EverQuest and World of Warcraft. But you know, one of my favorite ones was GTA 5. I found myself on an odd weekend where I was like, I'm gonna start playing GTA 5. It just finally got my copy, maybe like the week before it had come out, and I was like, I'm gonna play it this Friday, and then I'm gonna go to this thing on Saturday. And then I started playing, and I was like, sent all my friends like, I'm not talking to anybody. Don't do anything. No one else
I'll
is
see
in
you
the
guys
house.
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I just like I stayed in the same pajamas
Nice.
and ordered pizza, and I stunk so bad
Nice.
at the end of those 5 days. You know what I mean? I did it.
Like the
I was
pizza
just like,
delivery guy's like, I'll leave it on the stoop,
yeah,
please.
yeah. It was not. I was keeping people away, right? No one wanted to hang out with me, and I had so much fun. And it was just one of those, like, it was fun because it was such an adventure, and it was happenstance. It wasn't planned. Like, just all of a sudden I had 5 days to just go into that gamer hell, and I was like, yes. It's actually my heaven, but yeah, and I went there, and those are my favorite things.
Did you have 40 pizzas in 30 days? Are you the original Papa John?
No, I might have been sweating like
you.
that at some point. There might have been a little bit of that going on. And by the way, it was over. It was over. And that's like, sometimes people are like, what do you want to do for your birthday? I'm like, I want to be left alone and relive that no shower,
Yeah.
stink,
Yeah.
play games, be
Like,
left
leave me
alone.
be.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And that's just one of my memories that's very fond.
I'll tell you what, back in those MMO days, 40 pizzas in 30 days would have been no problem. Like that absolutely happened many times.
Well, I mean, MMOs is where the command/pizza
Yeah.
is from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at first you're like, that's the worst. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, like
that is sadly accurate.
yeah,
Yeah.
it worked. The only thing I think it was Pizza Hut that did that. Was it Pizza Hut?
Oh,
that
what
did
is
Slash
that?
Pizza?
It was in EverQuest 2. That was where it was available. That was the game that had it.
Yeah,
And
in game you could order a pizza.
You could actually type /pizza and order
Without
a pizza.
leaving EverQuest?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because they have your payment information,
Right.
huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
that would just show up.
That was like a big marketing spiel for it. And
That's incredible.
God, was it pizza? I think it was Pizza Hut.
That sounds
I think it was
Or
Pizza Hut.
Domino's?
I think it was Pizza. God, was it Domino's?
No,
Man,
I think
don't
it was
know.
Pizza Hut
We're gonna have to look it
because
up.
at the time I didn't love Pizza Hut, and I just
Yeah.
kind of remember being Pizza Hut because I was like, I can't believe there's a command/pizza, and it's
I'm looking
not
it
the
up.
pizza that I really
I can
like.
And that's
I
why
can
you
look it
never
up.
got into EverQuest
Yeah.
too.
Look it
That's
up.
why. That's what stopped it
Yeah.
right there.
There was a ad campaign for some movie that I can't even remember the name of and certainly never saw that was like, quote tweet this with an emoji and we will send you a pizza. And it actually worked.
Really?
And I got a free pizza.
Like,
That's
did it only
amazing.
work once?
And yet you do not remember what movie it was. That's
No.
So
amazing.
the marketing did not work at all.
Oh, and I would still consider it the only good ad of all time. That's
Yeah.
the only
That's
good advertisement.
amazing. That is actually amazing.
It was cool. It was very cool.
That I could just imagine your mind, like how just delighted you were when all
That's
of a sudden,
pretty
like the knock came on the door and there was a pizza.
Yeah.
Where you were just
This
like,
still can't be real.
I have won at life
Yeah.
in this moment. Yeah.
Shouts out that movie.
It was Pizza Hut.
It was Pizza Hut.
was Pizza Hut.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was Pizza Hut.
Also, if we're correcting things from earlier, Zombie Army is $50, and the song from Mass Effect 2 trailer was Two Steps from Hell. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Two
No
steps.
cleanup.
Yeah, there you
No
go.
cleanup.
I like that. All right. So I have a couple comments I'm just going to run through from people, which was someone brought up, which I think maybe even mentioned, the Kano's Eye from Mortal Kombat could have been in our town.
Yes, that was mentioned
That was
extensively.
that was
in the
that was
comments.
mentioned. Yes. But someone got it in. So thank you, Taylor from Cleveland, Ohio, for sending that in. We always like to think we did screw up, and we will. By the way, in the future, we will screw up remembering things on making our town.
Regularly.
Which
Like, that's the point.
Which I loved. Nate sent in. The GI town should be called Tropesville.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, which is not entirely wrong. I don't know if I like that name, but let's
I don't like it.
Let's have people. Let's have people. If you want to name GI town, give us a
Oh,
shot.
there you go. Yeah, community
Send
names
us,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think it should be. Podcast.
you got to
at
beat
GameInform.com.
Tropesville.
You got to
New
beat
York
Tropesville.
City.
New York City.
All right, that
too
one's going to
easy.
be hard to beat.
Yeah,
that one's
that's
pretty good.
Edition.
Also, too, we got a couple of letters. One from Andrew Flanagan that point out someone asked what were good games to have kids play their first game that we talked about last week. Someone sent in that the answer is Peggle.
Yeah.
I could have swore we brought that up last week.
And then someone else said that their daughter got into Kirby Star Allies, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Yoshi Woolly World, and Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that was Anthony from Ontario, Canada, which basically Nintendo.
There you go.
I mean,
say.
what do you know?
It's hard to go wrong there.
It's hard to
Yeah.
go wrong with the Nintendo. And I thought that was great. And last week we discussed something about when different gameplay appears and it's kind of like bad, but we also talked about times when it's good. This person just brought up that like all gillied up, like having that sniper level in the middle of a regular kind of like, classic FPS game is a nice palate cleanser. And I agree. There are times when the change-up is great, and there's times when the change-up is...
Yeah.
There's unacceptable.
That's the
Yeah.
goat of...
Yeah. There's a whole art form
Yeah.
to the off the beaten path level, right? Like the distraction level
Yeah.
that changes the core gameplay. Like one of the rules is it can't be harder. You can't have your distraction level be harder.
And that
than the
gets broken
core.
way more than it
gets
should.
broken all the time, and you get into it, and it's like, this isn't the game I'm playing, and it's frustrating me. And it's wrong. You did it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have it be like, this is cool, but it's pretty breezy. That's the way to do it.
Like, we've made the hardest stealth level ever.
No, it's bad.
Welcome.
And
Don't
put
do
it in
that.
the middle of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say all gillied up is the exception to that rule, though. It's going from like...
Everybody loves ugly.
No. That's
Yeah.
a great. That's a good like.
It's constructed
Everything
very
was
well.
fast paced.
Yes.
Yeah.
It slowed the pace down. It wasn't hard. You had to do some cool, interesting things with the sniper rifle. That's great. Looked great.
Flushed out mechanics
Yeah.
versus like trying to pretend your game has good stealth.
Yes. I mean, the funny thing is like, I know making games is hard. We get that, but sometimes you're just like, there's some pretty simple rules here that you feel like get broken a lot that are just like that should be well known in
Yeah.
that space. So last, because this is how we always wrap up the show, we got 2 great GI Town editions this week in the emails, but we chose ahead of time. So we're going to keep one of them, but the one we did choose was, hi GI Crew, congratulations on your permit for a new addition to GI City. With a
you.
growing community in the city, it is only a matter of time before your first animal shelter popped up so your residents could adopt new furry friends. My question for you is, what are the 5 pets in gaming you are going to adopt to the people of Game Informer City? Thanks, and bring back all the long podcasts. Thank you, Ty Tortilla, College Station, Texas.
Do we even have like a bank yet?
There's so much.
No.
We have so much.
You have a lot
This
to
is like,
build.
kind of
this is
feels
like somebody
early for an animal
building,
shelter.
like doing a really bad SimCity run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're like,
I like animals.
Let's build a nuclear power station before we have like a
house.
A house. Yeah.
I mean, we have the horror museum as like the second building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
but
I mean,
let's do this.
Priorities.
Let's do animal shelter.
I mean, as long as I assume people like this, because if you don't, let us know.
They
but
keep
I'm
sending
having
it in.
fun with these, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep doing them until you tell me not to.
So do they have to be real animals? Is the
No.
first question.
No.
Okay.
No. No, because
We're living in a world of no rules here, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, then
just
we-
like, are they in a video game? Do we think that they're adorable? All right, I guess they could be vicious too. I mean, I guess to some degree you could have that. Like, there's always that one animal in the shelter that you're like,
Or-
stay away from that one. He'll rip
Or
your head
just
off.
something that would be awesome, right?
Yeah.
If it's not adorable, it needs to be pretty high on the awesome meter.
Yeah.
I
So
mean-
like, could Chewbacca be?
Let's
Is he
say
He's a,
sentient?
No.
yeah, he's a
Yeah.
sentient being.
I think that's stretching things
Is it?
into
Okay, I got you.
slavery
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
okay, I'm sorry.
It's a smidge
He
slavery.
kind of looks like a dog,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Let's treat it like Sakurai does, and let's just it originated in video games. It's fair game.
Okay.
So let's get a Pokemon in there.
I was gonna say.
So which one is it going to be? I'd say like a Squirtle.
Eevee.
I like Charmander.
Eevee's the only one I want to pet.
There's no way you guys are going to come to.
You're
a
right. We're not going to come to a
conclusion
decision.
here.
So let's just put Pikachu in there as a representative.
Okay.
Because everybody loves Pikachu.
Pikachu's sentient though.
They're all
They're all
kind of
sentient.
sentient, aren't they?
They're semi-sentient. You're literally.
That's wrong. Yeah, you're saying like I can't put Chewbacca in there, but you're like, yeah,
Chewbacca is a
box up
walking,
a
talking
Pokemon.
human.
So here's this. I'm not a big Pokemon guy. This may come as a shock to you. Are they all just like? I mean, they happy to be in those little balls
Yes.
all the time?
Yes.
They're very happy.
Why?
So Pikachu
Why?
in the show, he doesn't like being in the ball.
But we're not talking about we're not talking about like detective.
I mean,
Pikachu
it seems
or
like it would
anything.
be really uncomfortable.
I
is what
want
I'm saying.
Detective
Listen,
Pikachu.
you would, but-
Listen, the argument here is
Is it just their spirits?
Hey, by
that
the
are in
way,
there?
Pokemon are
I'd like
treated
to-
as pets within the universe.
I'd
Are
like
they?
to point out. I'd like
Yes,
to point
they
out
are.
in Game Informer Town, we have nice people that treat their pets well. It's not some kind of weird, like, horrible thing that we're like. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to
Yeah.
like. I mean, like,
Listen.
I look at my dog sometimes. I'm like, I wish I was my dog. He's living the better life
living the
here,
better life.
right? So I mean, like, we're not sending Chewbacca up the river or
In-
Pikachu up the river,
What
like,
if-
like, or taking him
in
out
the-
behind the shed. Like,
Yeah.
this is a good thing. It's a
Pokemon are-
positive
are pet
experience.
companions.
Could we say Pokemon and like it's a blind Pokeball that you get?
I think
you
we-
go
I think
to
we
the-
do.
you go to the adoption shelter and you're like, listen, here's a Pokeball.
Wait,
There
this is
might
an
be a
adoption
dragon
center?
in
How
there.
is this an adoption
And
center?
by the
I
way,
like
it's an
it.
adoption, and this is an open field. We have so much land. There are
When the-
no
wait,
cages.
wait,
This
is
is
this
a
an adoption
cageless.
center?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Whatever is in this Pokeball will be
like
put
it.
down in
Animal
3
shelter.
days.
Yes.
If it's not
yeah,
getting
if you
adopted.
don't take this Pokeball home, we're gonna throw it away.
You're making this way. You're putting way too much of like an actual reality element on
Yeah,
this.
this is
man.
a happy place. This
I
is a
like
happy
the idea
place.
though that like I go and get this randomized ball and
And
I'm
you
in
don't know what's inside,
500
man.
square foot apartment and
be-
Snorlax pops out.
Anything. Could be a lot of things.
I say we just do it.
Pikachu as a representative of all Pokemon.
I don't know. I think the blind Pokeball.
I like the blind Pokeball too.
but that's
Yeah.
it's a cop out. It's not a real.
And Pikachu's not?
No, he's not. He's a representative of all Pokemon.
That's
sounds
weird.
like a cop
feel
out.
like
He's
the
cute,
blind
and he's adorable.
Pokeball is-
I think if we pick one, we pick Squirtle.
I love Squirtle.
I mean, I
definitely
love
take
Squirtle, too.
over Pikachu.
I just don't want to run my hands on Squirtle. Gross me
Well,
out.
I do.
I mean, what are you doing with your pets?
Petting them.
Okay, all right. Just checking.
You
Just
could
checking,
totally
just checking,
pet a
just
Squirtle.
Just checking.
Real talk in the Pokemon Go commercial that they
Real
had
talk
recently.
now
yeah.
Let's get serious, guys. Come on. Let's stop goofing around.
The Squirtle that they did for the Pokemon commercial was wonderful, and I'm fine with that.
Yes,
Put it on
he's
the
adorable.
All right,
Slimy.
Squirtle. Squirtle's on the list. Okay, we have one.
list. Okay. All right. Now the even more fun one. We should
you get
pick
to put one up now.
We should pick a dog, but also I feel like it has to be a specific dog, right?
D-Dog from Metal Gear Solid 5.
See, I was gonna say the dog from Fable,
Oh, that's a
The
good dog.
from Fable's really
That's a
good.
good dog.
because then there's also dog meat from
No.
Fallout.
Nah,
Right, good.
no.
I'm good. There's no such thing as a bad dog, only bad owners. That's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah, it's true.
I want a long neck from Horizon Zero Dawn. Does that
But
count?
that's not. Is that organic?
I don't care.
It's a video game.
Pet
so
I
robot.
want.
It's- but it's a-
I want. I
it a
want to
robot?
have this giant dinosaur-like creature.
I get it.
That I can climb to the top of, and like it's like a skyscraper.
You got a great view.
and get a great view
And a hike, all
Yes,
in one.
all at once. They're very gentle.
But doesn't it go in our robot exhibit, not our pet exhibit? All right.
We've decided there are no rules,
Oh,
but
all right.
but also thinking about that is like how far off is that from like, well, let's have a motorcycle in there, you know?
I just want. I want to make it. Okay. No, I'm cool with the long neck, but I want to make it so future submissions. Make sure you clarify this kind of stuff,
Okay.
so we don't have like a.
Well, we're
Be
deciding
very-
that right now. We're
yeah.
deciding that right now. I mean,
It's our
like,
city.
It's our city. That's correct. And so we
Yes.
can decide that now if we want to, like, if robotics don't count. But I mean, like, that opens the door
Here's
for
why-
like Clank. Or are we going to say Clank's too sentient?
Yeah.
He's animal-like, and here's why I
Then
think...
Ratchet. Can Ratchet be?
Well, here's why I think it's important that he get a chance. Longneck gets a chance right now. Is that I don't think there is a robot emporium in town.
Not yet.
Not yet.
There's
Well,
not
now-
like
Next week.
Next week,
Guaranteed
now
it's
that I
coming up,
mention
yeah.
it, but like it's not like a pet adoption center is like a thing. Right?
I think he says so. Your residents can adopt new furry friends.
Oh,
you.
so now we can't have turtles.
Yeah, there's
Great.
fur on turtles.
Does Squirtle? What is
No,
Squirtle?
Squirrel does not have fur.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have fur, but he's considered a pet. Like you can get him in a pet store, right? I think he fits into the furry friends. I'm just saying a robot.
What about
A robot. I
about Dog
like
from
your choice,
Half-Life?
by the way. But I kind of feel like we should move on. Does everyone agree that the long neck a robot is not?
We could get to 5 furry friends and
We
just avoid
absolutely
the
could.
Yes.
robot issue for
I'll
now.
miss having my long neck.
No, it's a good. I
want you to have
understand.
your
I
long
understand
neck.
the desire.
That's okay.
But without rules, man, it's anarchy.
I might just have to like make my home outside of Game Informer City where I can welcome my long neck.
Hold on.
sovereign nation?
I'm going to travel to the future.
Sovereign nation.
So you've been working on your Game Informer town. This is Miller from Kansas. I would like you to make robot pets. Okay, all right. So let's find more furry friends.
Furry friends.
We got the dog from Fable. We have Squirtle, who's not furry, but he's
got a
furry
pass
enough.
apparently.
we can if there's going to be an issue with the Squirtle, we can make it a furry Pokemon. But
I don't think we should re-legislate this.
Is the Yokero Taco Bell dog in there somewhere?
No.
Is he in a game?
No.
Was there a
No.
game they made for that?
We don't
even if
need
they
that.
did, I'd say no.
What about
go back.
What about Roach enrages me and I love him sometimes. What about Epona from Legend of Zelda? A horse.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
horse.
It's probably nice to have a
I
horse.
think Epona's great.
An adoption shelter?
You can adopt a horse.
Yeah, you can adopt a horse.
Horses are expensive and a lot to take
Oh, I'm
care
sorry.
of.
My suggestion was too ridiculous for this.
I don't know. The horse seems really weird.
The horse fits.
I mean, we're only at 3. I thought this was going to be a
know.
slam dunk.
What about
It's challenging.
Senu from Assassin's Creed? The
Which-
bird.
Oh yeah, the bird.
Oh yeah,
That'd be useful.
That would be rad. How
would be
cool
really
would
cool,
it be
yeah.
to have like just
to have a giant bird who just hops to every time I stop
It's
moving?
not make it sound very good.
Every time I stop moving, he just lands on my shoulder. As soon as I go idle,
Yeah.
as soon as I stop doing anything meaningful, the
just
bird
lands.
lands on my shoulder, just like, "Hey, I noticed you're not doing anything."
He's your AFK message.
Yes.
You know.
And I can see through his eyes.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a good.
It's a lock.
I like that one.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I'm so bad with nouns. What's the name?
Senu?
How do you spell
Is that right? SENU?
I don't remember
the one
his
from-
name right now.
Is
Let's
that from
just do
Odyssey?
I think
Eagle.
so.
Like we do
Origins?
Eagle.
There's the Origins one and there's the Odyssey one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
one do we
I'll
like?
take
I won't
either
say with
one,
confidence.
really.
The Assassin's Creed bird.
Yeah.
Let's do Origins
Assassin
Eagle.
Bird.
Assassin Bird.
Speaking
All
of
right.
birds, how about Untitled Goose Game Goose?
Oh,
You do
God.
want that in your life?
That thing is
Well,
getting put
I'd
down.
like a goose. I'd like a goose. Maybe not that goose.
like,
I mean,
is
aren't
it like-
gooses kind of generally
is it-
considered to be assholes? That's
Yeah.
why they
Well,
made a
they're
game for
territorial.
turning it.
Is it he? I mean, are you taking him home to like eat him? I mean, what's going on here? Like, you
A
you
pet
want to
goose.
have him be a pet?
A pet goose.
That is a problem
but,
goose.
but
a
not
problem.
that goose. Can we find another goose? So I can. So I
Is
can
there a
make this
good
right?
goose?
Can't think of any
I'm
good
trying to think
geese.
of a duck or a goose or some kind of animal
Sure.
within that tree that wouldn't be a complete, what the goose game goose is.
The unfinished swan.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing some kind of. I feel like we're missing some kind of cat-like creature. People like
Oh, there's
cats.
lots of
We should have
cats.
some kind of cat. I feel like that's what we're not missing a
Well,
goose.
we also
we're missing
don't.
a cat.
We don't have a dragon yet.
Oh.
Some
I
of
feel
these
like
sound
that
more like
might
a
be
zoo
missed.
Yeah, but
creature, though.
Yeah, some of these just aren't
Hi,
fitting in a pen.
I'm Leo. My idea for you.
I mean, I'm gonna write that email. Like, be like, hey, I really like waterfowl. Can you please?
We can get Blinks, the time sweeper, in
I was
there.
gonna say the time cat. Yeah, but then
That's hilarious.
yeah, but
And
then also-
stupid.
Yeah, I
and
don't know that I want
But
Blinks.
he's too sentient. We already kind of
the
established
thing is,
that.
it might
right?
encourage someone to make another Blinks game, and I don't think anybody wants that.
I mean, the problem is like most of the cats are like humanoid being, like Bubsy or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
tricky.
and dragons are usually pretty smart themselves
Spyro.
too. So
What about the?
Probably get away with
dumb.
Spyro.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all pretty smart.
yeah,
Spyro's pretty cute.
I still.
it is, but he's too What's like a person?
He's too person-like.
Yes.
I mean,
He'll never be a
He'd
pet.
be in the orphanage.
By the way, just because I don't speak his language,
Orphanage. Somebody write in about orphanage.
They will. Don't worry. They will.
I still like Chewbacca. I'd like Chewbacca. Chewbacca would be great.
You
If he
just-
was around with me.
You
He's
just
like
want to
the-
be Han Solo. And
If you
go
wanna-
I do kind of want to be
If
Han
you
Solo.
want to put Chewie in the petting zoo, you go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but it's
it's
wrong.
not a petting zoo.
Bad optics on that one, Andy. That's all we'll say.
I like Chewie.
I like Chewie too. He
I
doesn't.
think my dog looks like Chewbacca. I see dogs that look like Chewbacca all the time.
I think everyone at this table celebrates Chewbacca,
Yeah. I
thought
and
you were
that's
gonna
why
say
we
looks
go
like
on.
Chewbacca.
His whole catalog,
have
we
to-
celebrate.
You have to earn a Wookiee life debt, you know?
Yeah, I
it
guess
becomes
so.
much darker if you're
If you were to take some of the other
Well,
ones,
you're just taking Squirtle away from his home.
it's a Squirtle.
Wow.
Chewie has a life.
Come on, man.
Chewie's got to get home for Life Day.
He does need. He needs Life Day off for sure.
What?
I'll tell you what. You want to put
Bonkers
Chewie in there? Let's go
insanity.
ahead.
No, that's not up
I'll pet Squirtle, and then I'll pet Chewie. He's a very good boy.
Yeah.
One
Well, I
can
mean,
rip
like-
your arm off. The other, I don't think.
It's not even. It's not the concept of
I mean, you
ripping
don't
my arm
pet
off.
an eagle.
Yeah,
This
you do.
eagle we might.
Yeah,
do.
you pet the eagle.
Do you?
You give him a little
Get a
gentle,
little love.
loving.
So what are we
pet.
at now?
Chewie just wondering what the hell he's doing there. Right? These other animals are all happy to be there.
Totally.
Chewie's like, let me out.
Chewie's
Yeah.
just in prison.
This is a big
By the way,
downgrade.
it's not a prison.
No, it's
not
not.
a prison.
But he would see it as that.
Maybe,
though.
right, maybe, right.
Yeah.
Maybe right.
I guess
Sorry.
that can be a very good differentiator. If they would think that they were being imprisoned,
I mean, I want a Jedi. Can I get a Jedi?
Well, I mean, that removes, like, you can't have Blinks be imprisoned.
I don't think
right?
Blink
But
should
I
be
think
in
we
there
also
either.
the Blink shouldn't
Yeah.
be in there.
No,
That's all right.
no Sly Cooper, no Ratchet, none of that like anthropomorphized sentient people,
Yeah.
animals.
Gotcha.
don't
I mean, I think
that's right.
all animals are sentient, but yeah.
Right, to
Well-
degrees. You're right. We're talking about degrees here. We're going to go down
Yeah.
a real big rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
we are.
Yeah.
What about the
Cat Mario.
What about the creature from?
Yeah, I support Cat Mario being in there.
What about the creature from Last Guardian? The Last Guardian.
Oh, yeah.
That's easy. Do it.
That's a lot.
Do it.
And that creature's name.
Yeah.
I don't even like that
That
game that much,
creature's
but I
name
want that
was-
animal.
Trico.
Trico.
Trico,
Give me
there it is.
Trico.
There you go.
Who could forget that
He's
adorable
pretty
creature?
sentient, though. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to cause troubles now.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to cause trouble. I think that's a great. So what we have is Squirtle,
Yes.
the dog from Fable. Is there a name? It's just dog from
I
Fable.
think it's just dog.
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 Dog. Yeah.
That is a good dog.
We have Longneck. Oh no, we don't. Epona from Zelda.
That's 3.
That's 3. We have the eagle, the assassin's bird,
The assassin bird.
Yeah, it was Acid Bird.
and Trico.
Yeah.
It's solid.
I think that's a list.
Let's wrap this thing.
Does the horse not feel
Please,
out of place
God.
there to anyone else?
Is the bird?
The horse?
No,
horse?
the bird's great. We're definitely keeping the bird. I'm putting my
Bird's a
foot
lock.
down on assassin bird.
Yeah.
Oh no, that would hurt it.
I mean, I think the horse is
Don't do that
good.
either.
Yeah, I do too. There's nothing wrong with
Just
that.
feels
Horses
like
are
you
good-
get
are-
that from like a stable. For me.
Leo's just Leo's being obstinate here.
I think like as much as I'm gonna have to go to the potential future robot emporium to get my.
You realize
long
you're
neck-
going on that show
Right.
now.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Because we could do 5 horses.
I feel like that you could do a stable as a separate.
You could.
Yeah.
You're right. But
Oh
I mean,
my God.
Trico's so huge.
Are you serious right now?
Trico's
a
bigger
pet,
he's
though.
bigger than a horse, though.
Yeah, but
Our
it's not a
hypothetical
size
magical
thing.
town has to have
It's
it.
not a
It
size
has to have
thing.
us go in the
So what-
stable. It can't go in this.
It's
thing.
like you can. I guess this is a blind spot for me. Do people who have horses consider their horses their pets?
yes.
Yes.
I think so.
I know people who have had horses or who have horses. They consider them.
I mean, some of them
Maybe
like,
it's
I
the
think-
gamer in me that just sees it as utility.
I mean, they're
like-
mainly
A workhorse.
farmers, but they could treat them as like pet.
I can't
style
help but
creatures.
feel like we're missing something important here.
I'm sure that's
That's
every.
the secret
that's
of
the
every
game.
episode
That's
is
the
that we
game.
always
Miss
miss something
everything,
important.
yeah.
We always miss something important.
But I'm gonna be sad about it.
Hopefully, immigrants to our town will bring those things.
Yeah.
We're missing.
There you go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
You know,
We're not
Like,
limited to just one petting zoo.
I hope we're not limited to one Trico either. I hope like multiple people in town are running around with
Yeah.
Tricos. They make me happy. And assassin birds.
I mean,
What if you're a family, one of those like, in a normal place, 2-dog family, you have both assassin bird and Trico in your house. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Trico, yeah, and Epona, but they both fall in that thing of like they're singular.
Well, until we put them in the clone machine at the
We've got those facilities on
Don't worry
site.
about it.
Okay,
That's fine.
So, because we don't know what kind of animal a Trico is.
Oh God.
it's a Trico.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Cat dog. Hybrid.
Cat Mario.
Yeah, I think
we got it.
we got it.
I think we got it.
got it.
Yeah.
I think we got it. We were definitely everyone's losing steam. They're like, this is the worst idea ever.
I think we got there.
Which that means it was a successful Game Informer
true.
show.
Amen.
If we have come to the edge and gone past it, ruined perhaps our own lives and those around us,
Where even those of
That
us
is-
who are
that
on
is-
it are
are questioning why we are
why
here.
we're still talking.
Can we erase this part? Can we? Maybe we just take that question off. I don't know.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, everybody. Smash the thing.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Send in stuff. We have a merch store.
Yeah.
I got like a logo on now. Leo's in charge next week.
Sorry.
I'm sorry too. I'm so terribly sorry. See you next week. No, I won't see you next week. The week after. Bye.
Bye.
This is lunacy.